Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie, and there's your lovely co-host, Boo Bear. How's it going, Boo Bear? So glad to have you joining us tonight. It's always better when you're here, buddy. That's the facts. It's always better when you're here. Now, that being said, I like you to know that it's also always better when you are here. Just to put that out right up front. Now, I have a few videos to share with you, and we're talking about gun rights today and liberty, and New Hampshire. New Hampshire in the United States, the state of New Hampshire, is called, their motto is the live free or die state. Where are you going? You just started. We just started the show and you're leaving already? Fuck. Also, we do have our incredibly incredibly strict call screener tonight. He's very concerned about you people getting out of control. Now, where were we? We were talking about bong hits and it being Dabs for Donations Thursday. Is that what we're talking about? I think we were talking about Dabs for Donations Thursday. Am I right? Am I right? I don't think that was it. We were talking about gun rights and the Supreme Court. Did I mention fuck the Supreme Court? Because I just really think fuck the Supreme Court. Not that it has to do anything with today's ruling, anything at all. But just the thought that they have some kind of control over our rights, you know. Do you know why we have rights like the right of free speech? You know, the right of the Second Amendment right, the right against unreasonable search and seizure, the right of privacy, the right to privacy, and on and on. Do you know why we have those rights? We have those rights to protect ourselves. It's not just the Second Amendment that's there to protect us. It's all of these rights. The right against unlawful or unreasonable search and seizure. The right to privacy. That's to protect you. That's why you have these rights. And that's why every member of Congress and the President of the United States swear with their hand on the Bible or their holy text of their choice, swear to protect your rights. They swear to their whatever deity to protect your rights, your constitutional rights. And then they pick away at them. And then they pick away, chip at them, actually. Again, your rights are there to protect you. And the problem is with your rights, the real problem with all of your rights, the real problem is that they're there to protect you from the government. And the government hates that. Because the government wants you under their jack-booted thugs. I'm sorry, police. For-profit police state. They want to own your bitch ass. And your rights make that difficult. If not impossible. But it's not impossible. So, so let's just be clear to start right up front. Your rights are 100% about protecting you. And like 95% about protecting you from the government. About protecting you from the U.S. government. Why would the people who were giving you your rights want you to be protected from their government? The government where they held high offices. Why would they want that? Because they know governments are inherently evil. The core of someone having the ability to make laws that you have to follow is inherently evil. That's why these people made laws about your freedom. to protect you from the evil that is government. That's why you have rights. So all these people that are like, oh, we got to take law-abiding citizens' gun rights away. Don't forget, the government was just taking your free speech rights away. Your First Amendment rights. These aren't rights that are given to you by the God. By the government who wants to be the God. These rights we hold to be self-evident, right? Meaning, you already have them. We're not giving you anything. You have as the big-brained, upright walking, opposable thumb, tippy top of the food chain on this planet. You have the right to say what you want. That's why you have the ability to speak, so that you can communicate complex thoughts. And what the government wants is to limit your ability to do that. We've seen it clearly during the plague. We've seen it very, very clearly during the plague, and really for the last 20-some years. Very clearly, with free speech zones and protesters getting their fucking heads kicked in. We've seen what freedom looks like in this country. Okay? And freedom's messy, I can guarantee you that. But if it wasn't for the police state fucking everything about society up, this bullshit black market that they've created, this is where 80% of the crime comes from. 80% of the crime comes from your for-profit police state. And why? Because they make a profit off of crime. Duh. For-profit military-industrial complex? They make a profit off of war. That's why, oh my God, Ukraine, the big evil Russian bear is coming back. You know what? If it's so fucking important, if Europe is trembling in their goddamn shit-covered brutes, then let them fucking support Ukraine. Let them fucking give Ukraine $100 billion. We have more important things to care about. Okay? And this is what our rights do. And you know what happens? You go, oh, whatever the government says, oh, whatever the media says, oh my God, the people in Ukraine, we have to give up our gun rights. Oh my God, the plague is gonna kill us all. Really? Really? How does this work? Let me see. Do I have to push 1 on this phone?
No, you don't. And hey, just a quick message. This is a quick interjection of our unofficial sponsor of tonight's show. Would you like to know who it is? It's a mystery, but I can tell you right now. We've got a very special unofficial sponsor.
Is it A&W?
No, it's called American Payday Loans in Wichita, Kansas, and they can be reached at 316.
No.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, if you're in the Wichita area and you need a payday loan, go ahead and call American Payday Loans. That's all.
I guess someone needs a payday loan. And that was not an advertisement. I don't care where you go to get your fucking, what do they call that money? Blood money? No, the money, what's it called when you have like a dude who loans money out? Oh, something shark. A loan shark. That's what it is. That's what this payday loans bullshit is. They're just loan sharks. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I forgot where we were at. Yes, we were talking about your rights. Your rights. Your rights are there to protect you. Okay? And as they take those rights away, you are less protected. And they take them away in the name of protecting you. Okay? I don't need the government to protect me. I don't think you need the government to protect you. We need the government to make sure that if a baby formula factory shuts down, that babies won't go hungry, right? We need that. We need a government that makes sure that the prices at the gas pump don't go out of control. We could really use that right now. We need a government that fucking cares about the people, that fucking tries to take care of the people, that protects the people's rights. Okay? When I say take care of the people, I'm talking about creating an infrastructure project that guarantees a booming economy for all. Not just the fucking people at the top, which is why we don't have an infrastructure project, by the way. Because the people at the top, because everybody profits, and the people at the top don't like that. They like to be the only one getting money. And the government, they don't like you having these rights. That's why they chip away at them, because those rights are in place to protect you from the government, to protect you from bullshit like the Patriot Act, bullshit like the NSA spying on every single American, on every single person's computer around the world, most likely, fucking Israeli government. You know they're all over the shit. They love shit. They like sticking their nose right up in the shit. And so does the NSA. Right up your fucking ass. And this is, again, this is why we have these rights, these constitutional rights. It's not to protect you from your fucking neighbor. Okay? Your neighbor shouldn't be something that you really have to fear. If you do, then your constitutional rights protect you then too. Okay, if you really have to be protected, but you shouldn't have to be, and you most likely, 99% of the time, don't have to be protected from your neighbor. So, the rights are there. Your rights are there to protect you from the government. I'm sorry, from an out-of-control, comply or die, for-profit police state. Comply or die, for-profit police state. That's why you have your rights. That's exactly why you have your rights. And it's pretty much 90%, maybe even 98% of the reason that you do have rights. To protect you from this piece of shit government that insists it's the greatest fucking thing that ever happened on the face of this planet, who continue not to chip away at the rights around the world, your rights, the rights they vow to protect, the rights that make this country great. Your government hates them. Your government is doing everything in its power to take away those rights. And I'm not talking about the Democrats. I'm not talking about the Republicans. I'm talking about both of them working together. Oh, yeah. Oh, these guys are protecting the gun rights, though. Yeah, well, here they are chipping away at the fucking First Amendment rights. Here they are chipping away at your fucking privacy rights. Here they are chipping away at your right against fucking unreasonable search and seizure. Oh, yeah, but they're protecting our Second Amendment rights. Right. They protect that, and then they work on taking away these other rights. And then these guys are like, oh, we have to protect these rights. And those fucking stupid idiots go, oh, well, these stupid idiots are protecting their rights, and these stupid idiots are... They're working together to take away all your fucking rights. And the Second Amendment ain't shit without the other rights. Okay? They're all equally important. Although, I honestly believe, that the only reason we still have these other rights, the freedom of speech, the freedom against unreasonable search and seizure, the right to privacy, the only reason we still have any kind of a slightest representation of those rights is because of the Second Amendment. If we didn't have that, I'm pretty sure the FEMA camps would be open. They can't open the FEMA camps now because a lot of the people that they would put into them, those people have a lot of friends who have a lot of guns, and it would cause a lot of problems. But if they could, they would. We've seen it. We've been waiting for it for 20 years. They want this. They want to say, oh, you said something you can't say. Go to the re-education camp now. And until you get it right, you stay in there. Hive thinking is going to be all that's allowed. Unless we stand up and protect our rights. Unless we recognize that our rights are about protecting us from the government. I can't believe anyone who doesn't get that. All right, now here's what's going to happen, people. It is Dabs for Donations Thursday, which means if you are so kind as to give a donation to Mox News, I will be more than happy to do a dab in your honor. I cannot thank you enough for giving something back. But it would make me happy to do a dab in your honor. So there are clickable links in the text body of the video, or you can see them in the chat. I am going to play breaking news now, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a bong hit for me. So if you'd like to share one with me, that would be a good thing to do. And then if I get any donations, I will be more than happy to do a bong hit in that person's name. Now, let's see. We're going to start with breaking news, boys and girls. I'm sorry, my little ninjas. Pelosi DUI. Did you hear about the Pelosi DUI? Bam!
Fox News alert. Breaking moments ago. The DA in Napa County, California, charged Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, with DUI. This after weeks of pressure from you, primetime viewers. According to the press release, Pelosi will face a misdemeanor charge, not a felony. Surprise, surprise. The release added that he had his blood taken and he had his blood alcohol at over 0.80, 0.82. So, if convicted, he faces up to 5 years probation and a minimum of 5 days in jail. Other than that, it doesn't offer many new details about the crash or what exactly happened that night. For that, we have the New York Times, believe it or not. Now, like most people, you may have missed the fashion section of the New York Times today. We don't blame you. But if you skim past the editorials on Elvis breaking fashion boundaries and avatars wearing Prada, you'd find a very important story buried right near the bottom. A story that contains many shocking new details about Nancy Pelosi's husband's DUI arrest. Now, you may be wondering, what's so fashionable about drunk driving? How did that end up in the fashion section? I guess if you're going to smash up your Porsche, you got to do it in style, like Paulie P. We can assure the Times it wasn't the fashion police who arrested Paul Pelosi, even though for an 82-year-old he looks pretty good, especially after totaling his sports car. Got the sports coat. It seems like this article was spoon-fed to the Times by Pelosi's cleanup team to make Paulie look like a victim. That's right. And I use the term Pelosi's team very loosely because we're not really sure Nancy is on board with what happened that night. More on that later. The Times refers to Paul Pelosi as a, quote, swaggering presence in Napa, well-dressed with a full head of salt and pepper hair. With high society connections to the Newsom family and Getty tycoons. They quoted friends in Napa who said Papa Paulie's nothing more than just a social drinker, of course. And it would be harsh, quote unquote, to put him in jail because in Napa, quote, drunk driving was always met with understanding rather than criminal charges. But that's not all. We're just getting started. Buried between the paragraphs about Paulie's sleek salt and pepper hair and Nancy's favorite nail salon, there are some shocking details about what really happened that night, things we haven't heard before, and things that only make this night seem more suspicious. For example, according to the Times, there was a witness at the scene of the collision, a witness. Funny because we asked for witness statements and they told us to take a hike. So who is this witness? Just standing on the side of the road in the middle of the night? in the middle of nowhere. There's no bus stops in wine country. So if you ask Primetime, this sounds a little fishy. So we have to ask, was the witness in the car with Paul? We know Nancy was out of town that night, and reports suggest Paulie P's always had a little bit of a wandering eye. Was it hanky-panky that caused the collision? We don't know. When we spoke to the cops, they refused to say if there was a passenger in the car. They can't confirm or deny it. Very interesting. Another interesting tidbit, according to the Times, both cars were totaled. Totaled. For weeks, we've been led to believe this was just like your everyday little fender bender. We'll say it again. Both cars were totaled. The mystery witness also told the Times Pelosi stayed in his car after the accident. He wouldn't get out. Instead of getting out, like, most people do when they get into a car accident, Pelosi froze. He was motionless. It took him several minutes to move. Why did it take him so long to get out of the car? What was he doing in the car that whole time? New York Times also claims a local sheriff was actually the first person to arrive on the scene, not California Highway Patrol. This is the first time we're hearing about a sheriff. So Primetime called him. They told us he was just cruising by when he saw the crash, stopped to check in on everybody, and then left the scene since it wasn't his jurisdiction. Does that sound like something a sheriff would do? When two cars get totaled in the middle of the night on a secluded highway, you just drive by, everybody okay? Okay, this isn't my jurisdiction. I'm out of here. What? We asked the sheriff if there was a passenger in the car with Papa P, and believe it or not, he told us he knew the answer to that question, but he couldn't tell us because he was being muzzled by Napa County District Attorney Allison Haley. Hey, Allie. She's the one withholding information from the public. She's Newsom's girl, who, by the way, the Times points out, has some family ties to the Pelosi's. You guys ready for a fun fact from the Pelosi family tree? Paul's brother was married to the aunt of Gavin Newsom. Just wanted to put that out there. Newsom puts in Allie. The whole thing's family. And in that New York Times piece, they also mentioned firefighters showed up soon after. Why is this the first time we're hearing about firefighters showing up? Maybe because no one released a police report yet. Nothing is by the book here. Was a report filed by the fire department? Is there footage of the firefighters at the scene? Do they have a dash cam in the engine? Did they have to pull a motionless Pelosi out of his wrecked Porsche? Primetime wants the truth, so we also contacted Napa's fire department with these very questions and requested all their documents and available footage. No surprise we haven't heard back yet. It's almost like Hunter Biden smashed up his Porsche. Because have you ever seen so many people come together and cover up something that happened? Fancy Nancy wants this bottled up. The Times actually mentioning Mrs. Speaker of the House swung into full crisis mode as soon as she found out about the accident. She assembled a pricey defense team, hiring a crisis manager, a defense lawyer, and a PR exec. But Nancy can afford it. Paul's been timing the market for decades thanks to their pillow talk. Their crisis manager is Larry Kamer. He's the guy that told us, quote, so far as I know, there's no mugshot. That was obviously a lie after pressure from all of you guys. The DA was forced to release the mugshot just days later. So either Nancy's paying him a lot to lie, or he's just really an expensive idiot. We report, you decide. She's also paying them to bury Papa P's troubled driving record. This isn't the first Pelosi accident. When he was 16, a young Paulie P flipped over his sports car on a tight highway curve, tragically killing his brother, who was in the car with him at the time. And years later, he and Nancy were on their way to a fundraiser with their children when their car flipped on its side. Luckily, nobody was injured. And of course, Nancy was never one to turn down money, so she stuck her thumb out and hitchhiked to the fundraiser. We never found out who was driving the car that day. We expect there probably was a little bit of a cover-up back then, too. Pelosi supposedly wants her PR goons to keep us from knowing Papa P's record. The New York Times, in their puff piece, was already taking the bait, blaming Paulie's most recent accident, you ready? On his recent cataract surgery. So Paul Pelosi couldn't see, and he was drunk. I'm not sure how that makes the story much better, but I think they think that helps their defense. Sounds like Paul Pelosi is the most dangerous man on wheels. And for the sake of California public safety, might want to start Ubering back from dinner parties when his wife is on the opposite side of the continent. But when you have liberal privilege, you can dance around insider trading, smash up sports cars, and get the New York Times to write a puff piece about how salt and peppery your gorgeous hair is. This explains why we haven't seen the dash cam and the body cam footage from that night. California Highway Patrol has it. They told us they have it. And they say the DA won't let them release it. And the DA is telling us a different story, but we're not going to get jerked around. That's why our attorney has served both sides with papers demanding the release of all the footage, along with an explanation. The burden legally is on them, not us. All we're asking for is transparency, plain and simple. But if they don't respond to us by Monday, we'll be taking them to court.
I so want to slap that frat boy's smirking face. That being said, I have a lovely fat dab that I have been waiting for all day long. And I'm like, no, just wait and we'll share it with everyone. So I'm going to do this big fat dab for everybody. Well, it's really for me. And then I'm going to do one for Jackie Cat, because Jackie Cat was so kind as to give a little something back after giving day after day after day. Here we go. Ready? This one's for me. Whoa! All right, you ready? What are we going to do now? Right, there's a telephone number right there on the screen, 805-669-6397. We're here to talk, people. We're here to talk about your rights. We're here to talk about my rights. We're here to talk about the goddamn United States of America and what we're going to do about it. Or whatever else. Did you see a good movie? You got a good movie recommendation for the weekend? Did you see the one I recommended yesterday? Colossal, Anne Hathaway. Weird movie, man. It's a dark comedy with Godzilla type monsters. Oh man. How can you go wrong, baby? Now, I wanted to put the Pelosi thing out there because it's this elitist privilege bullshit. Okay? We talk about our rights. I talk about our rights and how it's there to protect us from the government, right? These people, they're there to fucking, these laws don't apply to them. right? None of these laws apply to them, you know. Oh, we have to take away your gun rights. But then they're surrounded by people with guns. These don't apply to them. They're not taking away their own gun rights. They're taking away your gun rights. And they're doing it on purpose. You know why? Because they're terrified of you. They're terrified of all of us. And they should be. And you know why they should be. And you know why they are. And you know why they should be. And you know why they are. Because they're doing evil things in your name, with your money. They should be terrified of you. They should be terrified of every single one of us. And they are. Not just that, they despise you. They despise you for almost exactly the same reason. Because you are the intelligent, big-brained, upright walking, opposable thumb, tippy top of the food chain, which means you can challenge them on pretty much anything that they say. Quickly followed by, don't tase me, bro! But you can question them. You know, and this is what they hate. This is why they want to take your freedom of speech away. This is why they limit all of your rights. Because you are the big-brained, upright walking, opposable thumb, tippy top of the food chain. They should be scared of you. They should be very scared of you. 100%, because they're doing evil in your name, with your money. And they know that's what they're doing. And that's why they're terrified of you. And that's why every day they do their best to limit and chip away at your God-given rights. We hold these truths to be we hold these truths to be self-evident. They're not giving you anything. They're just recognizing. They're recognizing that you have the right to freedom of speech because of who you are. Because you are the tippy top of the food chain. Because you have the ability to use a vocabulary of 20,000 words or more. Right? You have that ability. And why? So that you can express yourself. And why would anyone want you to express yourself freely? Because you're the smartest fucking creature on the planet. And you just might have an idea that's worthy of fucking expanding. Or you just might have a thought that's worthy of listening to. And they're terrified of that. That you might say something meaningful, because one person can have a profound effect on another person, meaning you might say something that could inspire another person, and that person could inspire other people, and on, and they don't like that. One person, what the fuck did I just say? One person can have a profound influence over another person. Two people of like minds can change the world, which is why they keep us so divided, and why they try and limit our rights and scare us and terrify us and make us believe that there's a plague going on that's going to kill us all, kill us all, kill us all, kill us all, kill us all. That's all we've heard on the news for fucking at the top of the news for 2 years, and pretty much the entire news for 2 years has been kill us all, kill us all, kill us all, kill us all. And it's still going on, only it's changed to, oh, the gun violence will certainly kill us all. If not all of us, your children. You know it's going to get your kids. And I mean, look at this, you know, just slightly intelligently. Okay? The police show up at this school shooting. The police show up. heavily armed. Why are the police heavily armed? Why are they showing up with guns? Because that's what it takes to stop someone with a gun. So them limiting your ability to stop someone with a gun makes us all less safe. And it's really strange that, I find it just really hard to believe that that people don't get that clearly. I mean, the cops, the police are minutes away when seconds count. Okay, it's the truth. The police are minutes away when seconds count. Okay, and the police at this last horrific school shooting weren't minutes away. Well, they were on the scene in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, the police were there. And it took them over an hour to go in and rescue the children. So, police are pretty much useless at this point. Police are there to sweep up the mess that's left on the floor. Police are not there to protect you. Police are there to act like, to take fucking notes. They're there to take notes and to make you afraid and to act like you better fucking step back, mister. I'm going to put you in your place. I remember I was on the scene of a stabbing one time in downtown Seattle, and we were talking to the police officers because we had video footage of the whole thing, right? And we're talking to the police officers, and one of them is like kneeling down, and she's looking up at me, and she's a bike cop, and bicycle cop, and she's looking up at me and asking something, and I look at her and I say, "Oh my God, you have the prettiest mouth." You have the prettiest mouth. Which I guess is something that you don't say to a cop on the scene of a stabbing. And she stood up and got right in my face and said, "What did you just say?" And my friend stepped in front of me and pushed me back and said he didn't say anything, officer. Because he knew I would have said the exact same thing, looking deeply into her eyes like I was just about to plant a big wet one on her. You have the prettiest mouth, officer, while you're down there. But that's just me. And my First Amendment. And I think that everyone should have this. This isn't something that you have to worry about saying the wrong thing. You have to worry about, going onto your social media and talking about whatever it is that you want to talk about in this country. Okay? Social media doesn't like it. They can go operate some other country. Okay? Don't give a fuck. Get out. Okay? Now, you should be able to say what you want to say. And it shouldn't be able to be held against you. And you shouldn't be bullied by somebody because they don't like what you're saying. Oh, you have to leave. Oh, what did you just say? I'm going to arrest your fucking ass. You shouldn't have to be afraid of saying what needs to be said. Again, we were back at this school shooting in Texas, and the police were called. Why were the police called? The police were called because the police have guns. That's why the police were called. That's why the police are called to all of these shootings. Because the police have guns. And they're supposed to be the ones to protect us. And how did they protect us? Why are they the ones to protect us? Because they have guns. So why in the world would anyone be concerned about a law-abiding citizen who has gone through the whole background check fucking process? Why? Why would they be afraid of that person, that proud American, simply exercising their Second Amendment rights? How does that make any sense? Because they're terrified of you. They're terrified of you. That's why they're using this January 6th thing. They want it's like the September 11th, right? We had to take your rights because of September 11th. We have to spy on all of you because of September 11th. We have to take your shoes off at the airport because of September 11th. Right? And now it's like, oh, January 6th is just as bad as September 11th. You know why? Because they're terrified of you. You were able to get within a mile of them. And you're not allowed to do that. They arrested a CBS crew that was invited to the House of Representatives, had a permit they interviewed 3 members of Congress. And then they're walking around asking questions and they get arrested. Because the people don't like them asking questions, especially when they have a camera going and they're not part of the approved script-ready, hive-minded media, right? Which the CBS is, but the CBS crew included Triumph, the insult comic, for me to poop on. The insult comic dog. Triumph, the insult comic dog, who fucking made one of the funniest television segments I have ever seen, interviews I've ever seen on Space Ghost. If you want to see something hilarious, look up Triumph Insult Comic on Space Ghost. It fucking brings tears to my eyes. I've watched it fucking more than 50 times, and it just makes me laugh so hard. You would never believe it. Now, I just want to wander around and not think about stuff. Wander around. That's all I want to do. Just wander around and not think about stuff. And maybe that's where most people are at, is they don't want to think about this shit. I don't want to think about this shit. Why would I want to think about this fucked up government and all these fear things that they want me to believe, and all this fear stuff that this guy is talking about? My rights are going to get taken away. Your rights are already being taken away. It's not that your rights are going to be taken away. They're taken away every single day. If you can't see the the for-profit comply or die police state growing stronger and stronger, is solely because you're brainwashed by the media. You're brainwashed by the media telling you, there's not enough cops on the street. Oh, there's a shortage of police officers because of whatever, because they've been so disrespected. There's a shortage of police officers. But the truth is, the crazy lady who lives across the street from me, who's no fucking threat to anyone, but the neighbors are all terrified of her because she shouts out loud in her fucking front yard. Okay, so the crazy lady, somebody calls the police on the crazy lady across the street, and 6 fucking cop cars show up. 6 fucking cop cars show up for a welfare check on a crazy lady who's no threat to anybody. But oh my God, we have this huge shortage of police officers. 6 fucking cop cars. 1 at most would have done it. At most. They probably didn't even need to come. I know they didn't need to come down here. 6 fucking cop cars. Oh, we have a police shortage in this country. What's up, G?
Hey, I bet you don't even know who this is.
No, but you've been smoking a proper amount of cannabis, haven't you?
haven't smoked any yet.
Well, that's truly wonderful. I mean, not the part
Hey,
where you
man,
haven't
you know,
smoked
when I was
any,
a
but
kid,
you
I'm
have
gonna
such
tell
a
you
good
back
laugh
when I
without
was a
smoking
kid
any.
story.
What's that?
I'm going to tell you back when I was a kid story.
Okay.
Back when I was a kid in Texas, we're talking about guns and stuff. You know, we didn't go out with the adults. We went out with the adults and were shown how to use the weapons and everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were kids or 10, 11, 12 years old are running around with guns, going knocking on doors, get pop bottles, because we could take those pop bottles. They were glass, take them down for 3 cents to the corner store, and for 11 cents, if we could get enough to get 11 cents, Harold down at Harold's Highway 377 Market would sell us kids shotgun shells of whatever gauge we would use.
Nice.
And we didn't have any of these problems. We walked all around town knocking on people's doors with guns. I know it's a different time, but the basic premise is, it's not the guns
Yeah, it's look.
that are doing it.
People have had this, they've had this fear interjected from all of this fucking media. There's this study that says by the time kids are 10 years old, they've witnessed like 17,000 deaths, right? From movies and video games and such, So there's this desensitization to the violence.
Cultural alienation.
What's that?
We're not engaging. I think it's cultural alienation into the American culture. We're not engaging in the activity of using firearms as much as anymore, because of I say urbanization of people, heading from the farms off into the cities. We're not taught it anymore. How many people in the cities? You might go to a high school or something. I really don't know about them in the inner cities because I was raised there also, not only in rural areas. I'll give you another example. In Los Angeles, when I was being raised in Los Angeles, there was Centinela Park. They had a rifle and pistol range. I'd walk across the park with a rifle, 22 rifle in my hand.
Yeah.
And walk in. That's in Los Angeles. That's in the 60s.
Yeah.
But, things have
like I said.
Up. You know who this is?
Yeah.
You know who this is?
No, who is this is?
I have a 760 area code.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I'm not there.
Me either.
I'm not there. This is 2BC.
Mm.
Where's Dr. Whisper? I'm patrolling for his ass. Where is he?
Well, if you call back and talk to the the call screener, he'll be happy to give you Whisper's phone number, I'm sure.
I could get Whisper's number. Whisper did a triangle call with Wilco one night.
Yeah.
It went over like a turd in a punch bowl. It's about, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
You can only listen to somebody say, fuck you, so many times,
Yeah, I know. I can only listen to that stuff so much. Hey, well, I just wanted to call in and be a little crazy. I'll try to refine my act. I was trying to get my Scottish brogue together, try and be Steve McClanahan's Scottish cousin, give you a report.
Well, I'll tell you what, BC, I'm looking forward to that, man.
I'll have to get that down. I do have a kilt, though.
A what? Oh, go ahead. Let's hear it.
I'll wear the kilt, man. I'll wear the kilt. Maybe I can conjure up the spirit
Nice.
of some Scottish accent or something like that. I'll do it. Maybe a Dumfriesshire. McGregor.
You're getting close, man.
In spite of him.
You got it in you.
Let's go, dude.
All right. I think it's really good.
To get with you, and I've got stage fright over now. I could be a real freaking asshole now.
All right. Hey,
I'll talk to you soon.
It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, good to be heard. Thank you, Mike.
Stay cool,
Bye-bye.
bro. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for all your help. 2BC, he's in the chat. He's a great guy. Thank you so much for all your help. Now, where were we? Oh, right. He was talking about in the 60s walking through a park in LA with a .22 rifle over his shoulder, and it wasn't a big deal. And what I was trying to say is that there's been studies that have shown that when a child, by the age of 10, a child has witnessed over 17,000 deaths. And they've witnessed the 17,000 deaths, in TV, in movies, in video games, right? And what I was trying to say, he was saying you could walk around through the neighborhood with the gun over your shoulder, and it was no big deal. And the truth is that when you go to rural areas, I still see guys walking around with AR 15s. You don't see a lot of AKs, but like AR 15s over their shoulder. I've seen it in California. I've seen it in Oregon. I've seen it in Washington. And every time I see it, well, the first thing I do is a double take, and then I go, man, I'm glad those guys are here. Not that I'm afraid of anything, but those guys make it like 10 times safer than it was a minute ago. I know this, okay? That being said, back to the 60s and walking around your neighborhood with a gun and it not being a big deal, white privilege, walking around your neighborhood with a gun and it not being a big deal in the 1960s, this was before all these kids had witnessed all these deaths. And it's not just the kids who witness them, right? If the kids, by the time they're 10 years old, have witnessed 10,000 deaths, then their parents, who are much older than them, how many deaths have they witnessed? Movies, video games, television. How many deaths have they witnessed, right? And how many of those deaths were from guns, right? All the video game deaths, pretty much, unless you're crashing your NASCAR or something. But 90% of the video game deaths are with guns. So guns kill people. Guns are scary. Because bad people have guns. People with guns do bad things, right? This is the belief system that we now have. As opposed to the 1960s, when it was just a kind of a commonplace thing. The kids, he's talking about wandering around with a 22 over his shoulder through a park in Los Angeles. I grew up in very, very suburban, almost rural type areas, and pretty rural. And I got my first gun when I was 9 years old. 22 pistol. Got my second gun when I was 10 years old, 22 rifle. And I would carry those guns around. It was no big deal. I mean, from the time I started driving when I was about 10 years old, and I started driving on my own when I was 13, 14, and I always had a gun. Just the way it was. I wasn't, and it wasn't like a fear thing. It was just gun. There's a gun, I have a gun. There was hundreds of guns at home. So there was one in the car. Whatever. But that's not the point. I don't want a gun now. I've talked about guns. I don't want a gun. I don't want anything to do with a gun unless it's absolutely necessary. Okay, if there's marauding hordes going through the neighborhood, then yeah, it would be nice to have a gun. Which is why it's so good that the people in New York now have the ability to have guns, because the fucking mayor's talking about, well, I doubt that they're going to have the ability to have guns, because New York's a bunch of dickholes who will find some way to keep it from happening. But the mayor's talking about it becoming the Wild Wild West. Okay, I don't live in New York. I can't recall ever. Well, I think I drove kind of around New York, but I don't ever remember really being in the city at all. I don't want to. But I live in Seattle, right? And when Craig goes off to do his job, I'm like, be careful, it's the Wild Wild West out there. And why? Because it is. And it doesn't have anything to do with New York. But this is what the face is. It's not going to become the Wild Wild West. It is the Wild Wild West, which is why you need to be able to protect yourself. What's up, G?
Hello, caller. Caller? Are you there? Caller, we're talking about guns here. And today is the reason why I don't own a gun. You know, the reason why you don't want to have a gun is the reason why today I don't own a gun.
Oh, really?
You know? Huh?
Oh, really?
Yes, I'll admit it. I'll be like, man, if I don't use this gun to just protect myself, then I shouldn't have one. You know? I think this is a real thing in the fucking world that people need to understand. And they need to take a look at other people's behavior when they're saying crazy shit like I am right now. Okay? Because you can't be fucking calling people a bunch of bitches and that they're not a man and that they're a fucking loser. That, you know, when they, especially after you like go to the mental hospital and shit like that, and they're like, hey man, you're supposed to reach out to your friends and family if you fucking need help, and you're actually doing really good, and so you should be able to do that. And if they say no big deal. But oh my god, fucking bunch of bitches and fucking questioning manhood and shit. Oh Lord, I'm glad I don't own a fucking gun. I'd kill a motherfucker, like straight up.
I think there's a lot of people that are glad you don't own a fucking gun. But I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing.
Dead. Because
Well,
they'd be fucking dead meat.
You're not eating enough cannabis. You're not eating. In case you don't know it already, you're not eating enough cannabis.
I'll fucking punch you and I'll fucking punch your lights out. That's what I want to fucking say.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got to say it.
It's difficult, you know, when you're down, and then fucking people kick you when you're down, and then they throw you under a bus, and then they fucking act like all they do is act like they fucking care. And when it comes down to like, hey man, listen, hear me out. I fucking need to get to work. And I don't have any gas. I literally don't. And do not send any fucking money to Mox News. I'm not joking. And what I'm fucking saying, because that guy doesn't even fucking pump gas at all. He doesn't even fucking.
No, I do not. No, I do not
News.
pump gas. That is correct.
Don't fucking send any money to Mox News trying to help me at all. Please, do not do that.
We are not here to help
Please
him.
do not do it, because they'll fucking take it.
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
take it.
Oh, yeah.
They'll fucking take it and they'll fucking laugh. Just like they're doing. It's funny. It's really funny. And so what I'm saying is, what they say at the mental hospital of like reaching out, like when you're trying to get fucking better and shit, you're supposed to reach out to your friends and family and just ask them. And then when they're like,
ask them what?
fucking, ask them for a little help. And so what I'm fucking saying is, I fucking need a little gas money, and got my first paycheck coming on the fucking 5th of next month. This shit is ridiculous, the stress that I'm going through. Trying to keep it together. Trying to keep the fucking roof over my fucking head. And then I'm not a man, and I'm a fucking bitch, and I'm a fucking loser. And I'm just like, what? Man, I just can't even believe that they said, reach out to your fucking friends and family. They will help you.
Do you think
Just
that's
ask
how
them.
I talk about people? As
No.
bitches and losers?
No. Not saying you. Not saying you, but at the same time, I'm not on your side of like legalize and all drugs, dude. And
You don't need to be on my side. I don't need anybody on my side.
I'm not saying that I'm fucking on your side.
I don't need you
either.
on my side.
All I'm fucking saying is that I'm going through a really fucking hard time keeping a positive attitude, whether you like it or not. At the end of the fucking day, they tell you that just like reach out to your friends and family, and if they say no, then no. But no, it's not like that. What they don't say no. They say you're a fucking bitch. You're a fucking loser, and you are not a man. This proves that you're not a man. And I'm like, oh my God, you
deserve better than that.
I don't know if I could take this shit.
You can do it. You're a strong person.
This is why I don't own guns.
You're a strong
because I'm like, draw, motherfucker. Let's do this. I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll fucking be your Huckleberry Finn right now. You think you're tougher than me? You think that you're... There's no way that any man is ever going to fucking say that to my fucking face. Ever on the fucking face of the earth. If they ever seen me in real life, they would never say that. They would never, ever say that. Oh, Lord. And you know what? It hurts. It does. It really fucking does. And I feel bad because I know I'm wrong. I know that I'm in the wrong. I'm 37 years old. I should have my shit together. I should not be asking people for help. Okay? So I get it. And so I called...
Everybody needs help, dude. Everybody needs help.
Dude,
You're not the only person who needs help. Everybody needs help.
I literally called the crisis hotline in my town, and I talked to this lady for like an hour and a half. Not about the show or anything about that. I just said, my buddy, fucking that I thought was my buddy. As soon as I fucking said, I need some help. Fucking, you know what, dude? Everybody out there in the world, don't be poor. Do not be poor. Please hear me. If you are poor, they will, no matter who you know, if they are rich or if they are poor themselves, and you go over there and you ask them for help, no matter if you ever helped them or not, they will fucking kick you in the face and throw you under a bus. I swear to God, there is no friends or fun or anything anymore. It's all a bunch of selfish, fucking, greedy capitalism. Apparently, I'm going to give a shout out to Chris from Olympia right there. He's probably right. And so I'm just saying, you know, that just fucking hurts a little bit. And I'm going to be all right. I went over drunk as fuck to my old job at the liquor store, and I fucking told them I needed some money, and they fucking gave it to me. So,
well, that's really good, dude. I'm glad to hear.
Do that.
See, you were wrong. You were wrong. You said
I really didn't want to do that, but they did.
You said that everybody just shits on you when you ask for help. So you're wrong about that, aren't you?
I fucking literally had to go over there and make myself look like a complete jackass.
Well,
for them to
that doesn't sound like a long stretch for
understand.
you.
And because I'm actually scared to go over there. I don't want to go over there. I don't want to go over there and just be a normal fucking sober human being because everybody is fucking.
Go over
I'm
where?
Too nice.
Go over where?
To my old job at the liquor store.
Why?
Where I went over there and I fucking asked them to borrow some money so I could get to fucking my new job at from the old job.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I fucking did. That's what I had to do.
And they're nice
Made
people,
myself
and they're
look
helping
like a
you make
fucking
that happen.
idiot.
What?
I had to make myself look like a fucking idiot.
I don't
to be
think
able
so,
to
dude. You make yourself look like a human being, okay? Human beings
No,
need
dude,
help.
I had to fucking make myself look like a fucking idiot to be able to fucking get to fucking work tomorrow. And it hurts
Well,
because I don't have any friends. in this world.
everybody hurts.
And I'm not on Venmo. I'm not on PayPal.
Everybody cries.
I'm not eBaying. I'm not fucking asking anybody for any
Everybody
money.
hurts.
I'm fucking literally
Sometimes.
just trying to have fun on a daily basis. I'm just trying to have a fucking good time, just like the landlord is. Would you give him too much shit? You stop doing that. Because that dude is funny. Fuck. I'm about tired of that shit. And I'm not even fucking, I'm done with everything. I'm destroyed after today. I'm literally destroyed after today.
Me too.
I have never fucking been more fucking down than today because I was riding a fucking high. Everything is fucking going strong. Oh, I know I can do this. And I know I can kill all my friends. Can't. You can't. You always have to fucking, you can only rely on yourself. And yourself is the only person that can tell yourself that you are the one that's out there keeping a positive attitude at the end of the day, whether they like it or not. And then you get up each day and put one fucking foot in front of the other, one stepping stone at a time, and trying to keep a fucking roof over your head each fucking day. And it's fucking hard when you ask for help. And that's why I don't fucking ever fucking ask for help. This day is exactly why I don't fucking ask for help.
I hope you're okay. And know that things could turn around tomorrow. Tomorrow you could meet the woman of your dreams. Tomorrow you could find a lottery ticket worth $100,000. It could happen. Wouldn't be the first time. So, and if you're as low as you say you are, right? If it's as bad as you say it is, then there's nowhere but up from here, baby. Blue skies are coming my way. You know what I'm saying? Right? If you hit rock bottom, then you're on your way back to the top. Right? You can't go, at least you can't go any lower. So, you got that going for you, right? It's people get lost in their own negativity. And I've talked about this again and again. I've talked about it with fear a lot. When they talk about the plague gonna kill us all, and so many other things. The police state, the just all this crazy shit that's going on in the world, the drug war, all this shit is right there knocking at our door, waiting to kill us, right? But the truth is, that's in your imagination. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist out there somewhere. What I'm saying is that if you look where you are right now, you look around you, all that stuff that you're afraid of, it's not here, right around you, not in this moment. All this stuff you're afraid that's going to happen tomorrow, it's not happening right now, so you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to think all this negative shit, all these worries that you're never going to overcome. Because if that's the way your mind works, to worry, then once this worry is no longer exist, you will replace it with another one right away. And the truth is, if you simply take a breath and look around you, these things that you're so concerned about are not happening around you right in this moment, which means you can take a breath. You can enjoy whatever there is to enjoy instead of being in tomorrow, worrying about what may or may not happen. It adds nothing to your life, as far as I can tell. Now, we owe Jackie Cat a big, fat dab because she's a gobber. We owe her a big, fat gobber because she is so kind as to, once again, on Dabs for Donations Thursday, be the first one to kick down a little something for my cock. Because Jackie Cat loves my cock. I can tell you that for sure. My cock for president and fat dabs for everyone. My cock for president. When elected, I vow to put a bong in every home and a hit in every bong. I vow. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, a bong hit for Jackie Cat. There are clickable links in the text body of this video, or there's also links in the chat. Now, I think that we should have a bong hit. I really do. I think that it's an important part of the show, at least for me. And I also think that we still have discussions about your rights and why your rights exist in the first place, which we've been over. Your rights exist to protect you from this evil government. There is no doubt. If you look and think the right to privacy, right? I don't know, if that's because your neighbors are spying on you, but I think it's because the government's spying on you, and you have the right. I mean, your neighbors can look out their window. They can even use binoculars. They're the weirdos, not you. But your government looking at you, keeping track of what you do, taking notes of everything, that violates your rights, right? So again, the reason that you have these rights is to protect you from the government. So no wonder the government would do their best to take those rights away. Because they're threatened by it. They're threatened by anything that protects you from the government being able to squash you like a bug, being able to throw you in jail because you challenge what they're saying, because you challenge how big and nasty and bad the plague really is, because you challenge the events that happened on September 11th. Because you challenge the fucking narrative that led us into war in Iraq. The government is intensely threatened by this. This is why Julian Assange has been sitting in a prison. Because the rights no longer exist. We have the right to a free press. And the government does not agree with that. Again, the evil government. The reason that we have the rights in the first place is to be able to stand up against the government and say, no, you can't do that. It says right here, right at the top, I have the right to say what I want to say. And when I say, well, I think that it is so obvious that they're threatened by us, and they're supposed to be protecting us, and they're threatened by us. They're supposed to be protecting us, and they're threatened by us. You can't protect someone that you're threatened by. All you can do is put them in a cage in hopes that the threat isn't as serious as it was a minute ago. Sup, G?
What's up with you, man? I just got in. I guess I missed something from Wichita, but that's okay. I don't need to hear it. But yeah, people are threatening people all over the place because they're upset. Everybody just needs to take a step back, take a breath, and chillax, man. Chillax, man.
Yeah, because that's what you do all day.
Yeah. No, man, I was pretty mellow all day. Smoking dope.
Oh, so you didn't see any of your neighbors, I guess, then, huh?
No. Fuck those people.
There you go.
No. Fuck. I got barbed wire up, or I got machine gun towers, I got fucking badass dogs. Eat your throat, man. No. Everything's okay in my neck of the world. I'm getting shit done. Oh, my back hurts, but yeah, here we are in America, and in life, everybody needs help, including me, from time to time. And when I was really hurting, when some drunk, dumb, brain dead, stupid, fucked up, moron motherfucker knocked me off the roof for no reason, I broke 9 ribs, got a punctured lung, and when I needed help and I was being invaded, I got the help. I asked for help, and I got the help, and I'm really grateful for that. So, I don't know, maybe everybody's got a guardian angel, maybe karma works and shit comes around, good deeds get paid off somehow, or help comes in the strange way. Help usually happens in the form of humans. It's not like some angel comes out of the sky and lands and says, "You're a good person, now I will loan you money." That's not the way it works.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily, always. It's not like that doesn't happen. There's people that are down on their luck and they get a lottery ticket and all of a sudden, they're not down on their luck anymore. So it's not just that it comes from a person that, helps pick you up. Sometimes there is a higher source or something,
Oh, yeah. I'm not discounting anybody's belief system, any higher source, angels, God, ascended
Well, you just
masters.
did. You just got done saying it's not going to come from angels.
Well, my personal theory is I've never seen an angel, and all the help I got was from human beings. So I think the angels send human beings. It's like, I had a friend driving his motorcycle down the street. He goes, hey, maybe I'll go see Mike. He came by right at the time I was at my lowest, lent me $1,000 exactly when I needed it, came out of the fucking blue. I didn't even ask him. He just handed me an envelope and says, "Here." And it was just this amazing spiritual experience. to get $1,000. Praise Jesus! No. So, yeah, I mean, we help each other. But my bigger point is the fucking economy is crashing. And Grandma and Grandpa were right. You know, Grandma and Grandpa, they saved the lard on top of the stove, the bacon grease. They put it in a little thing on the stove, and they always greased when they made pancakes. And remember the grills they had in the center of the old stoves? They would make pancakes, and they saved every penny in a jar, and they hid it under the front porch, or they buried it in the garden. And even when they had thousands and thousands of dollars and their house was paid off and all their tractors were paid off, they're still pinching pennies. And that's what we all got to do right now, because it's not the time to be blowing a lot of money, you know.
Nobody has a lot of money, dude. It's fucking food has gone through the roof. Fucking gasoline's gone through the roof. Nobody's out there spending extra money right now, unless, of course, there's some yuppie scumbag. And who cares? Yeah, go into debt, you fucking idiot. Good luck with that. But you know, I mean, people are struggling, and they're pinching their pennies, and they're tightening their belts, and you know, doing their best to get through it, man.
Well, thank God we finally have just this awesome president who's going to save us economically and militarily, and turn the world around spiritually. He's like fucking Jedi Master in disguise. He just pretends to be sleepwalking all the time, and you know, those aren't depends that he's wearing underneath those athletic trousers. Whatever you say, Poopy Pants Joe Biden is to the rescue and going to save planet Earth because he's one of the ascended masters. He was Yoda's instructor back at boot camp. Thank God for Joe Biden. And yeah, I know shit's fucked up. And I'm pinching my pennies, man. I just lost 40 grand, not even including the other 40 grand that I could mention. But and so I'm pinching pennies, and everything. I don't know, man. You know me. I talk a mean game, but I'm like you. I got a good heart. So I'm working very hard every day, and I feel like my future is very bright. And I you know, I hate to say the hope word, the H word, but I don't want people to give up hope, because no matter where you're at, you do have hope of a better tomorrow. And sometimes I've just been down in the dumps and under the gun and under pressure, and I just keep working, and I go, well, look at that. I can breathe, and I'm making a little bit of progress, and I'm just going to discard my troubles for an hour or 5 hours, and I'm just going to be grateful I got work, and, you know, always look on the bright side of life. So, I don't know, man. It's a fucked up planet right now.
The planet is not fucked up. The human race is fucked up.
I agree. And it seems to me, if half the people, you're walking down the street of your town, and half the people you see are literally crazy out of their head with worry or drugs or alcohol or trauma from their childhood, or their boss is a psychopath, or whatever the problems are, there's lots of them, they're out of their mind, then it seems to me the logical thing to do is stay sane. That's rule number one. You can't even build a Lego puzzle.
Dude,
if you're not sane.
I keep telling you, you know, look at this is number one. Sanity is fucking subjective. Okay, so it's, you know, relative. It's, you know, there's all these fucking aspects of society being completely insane. So society likes to decide who's fucking sane and who's not, but how can an insane society decide such a thing? So you talk about this sane shit. We're all mad here, okay? We're way beyond the looking glass, dude. It's not an option anymore.
Well, my point is, the ability to function in a dysfunctional world. That's a pretty good sign of sanity. Even though a lot of the high-functioning people are psychopaths, if you're just a little guy like me and you can budget your money and you have pretty healthy relationships and you handle your own weight, you don't put your weight on somebody else, and you're able to give other people a leg up and give them a hand up every now and then, and you're emotionally halfway stable, I would call you sane. If you're able just to do that, put a roof over your head, cook some food, not fuck up other people's lives, that's what sane people do. It's not even, you don't have to be fucking Mr. Businessman with the Ferrari or the Jaguar or you know, the 3-story mansion. All you got to do is, the major sign of sanity is the ability to function. And the higher the stress that you can function well in, that's a pretty good indicator that you're probably pretty sane, you know, because if you can keep your cool in the middle of a storm, you know, crossfire hurricane type situation, you probably got your shit together in one way or another. But you know one thing I never ever do, I swear to God, Mike, I never do this. When somebody's breaking down in front of me and they're having a crisis, never ever do I mock that person or berate them or tell them, you know, suck it up or something, because that's the time when people need help, is when they're having a crisis, you know. Even if all you can do is hang out for a while, be a good friend, and say some nice words, it's something, you know. But I've been there, so you know, they say big boys don't cry. Well, guess what? I cry.
I cry myself to sleep every night.
Teardrops on my pillow. So, I mean, that's it, dude. You know, to weep or grieve or cry or feel sad, that's just part of the human condition, and it's just one part, you know. And some people hate you if you're full of joy, or if you're funny, or if you're you know, natural. If you're a natural man or a natural woman, all the phonies are going to hate you and probably attack you. So it's a weird situation. Just try to keep your shit together. I'm doing okay. Got a little bit of physical pain, but I'm emotionally I'm okay. I can function, and I haven't given up on trying to help people, and neither have you, man. So I think you're sane, Mike. Despite all appearances, I think you're sane.
I don't think so, but thanks for thinking that. I don't think so. I don't think so. And it doesn't matter to me. I look at sanity in the world of fucking, people that want to talk about sanity. I mean, look, there's no sanity, number one. And number two, if there is these people that are saying, oh, well, that person's sane and that person's not, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of the sane people. Fuck them. Number one, they're not happy, So, look, I don't see that as necessarily a benefit, especially in the Looney Tunes land, which is where we're at. And it's not just that. It's not possible to be sane. You can't walk through the land of crazy and survive not being crazy. Okay? You can't go through this place where everybody's out of their mind and everything, all the aspects of fucking society just don't make sense. You can't walk through that being what you're calling sane and you can't navigate through crazy and be sane. It's just not possible. You wouldn't make it through there. You wouldn't be able to. It's not that you lose your sanity. It's that you're going to get lost. You're not going to be able to make it to the other side. Okay? So.
Well, let's get rid of the word sanity. And my advice to everybody is just try to be high functioning. Try not to get swept away with the storm of either your finances or the crazy people around you or your own internal conflicts. Just try to be high functioning. You start by little baby steps, put one foot in front of the other. Clean your room. Clean your fucking room.
Fuck you. You're not my mom.
Clean your fucking room, man. I'm telling you right now, dude. No, I'm kind of like the genius guy that got shit all over the place. So I'm the last guy to fucking, but having some kind of organization helps. So fuck sanity. Just be as high functioning as you can. And you start by cleaning your room, Mike.
I don't wanna.
No, I don't know what your house is like. I imagine you're like me. You're a little bit sloppy sometimes, But I was a contractor my whole life, and so I collected all these building materials from one job, and then I'd use them on another job, and then I decided to put an addition on my house made out of crap, so I would do that. And now I don't collect so lumber and plywood. Plywood is like gold now. It's still about $80 a sheet when it used to be $20 a sheet. So and the gas ain't going down. And I guess the food, I only buy food when it's on sale. I walk through I'm like a speed shopper, boom, bam, bam, and I'm out the door. And I know people, they'll spend an hour in the fucking store. It's like, whoa, dude, I can do what you did in 5 minutes. But I only buy shit that's on sale. And that way, over the course of an entire year, I save a lot of money. And of course, I'm not a hoarder, not a boomer, a prepper. I'm a prepper. So I got enough food here for a whole fucking year if I had to, I just don't have enough bullets. But thank God I'm sane. So, no, man. You look at this. Remember when Obama first came around, and we all, I don't know about you, but most people thought, oh, man, what a well-spoken guy. Wow, he's going to save America. This guy is great. Wow, I'm going to vote for him, man.
Compared to George W. Bush, everybody is a well-spoken man.
Yeah. But it turns out he's just a high-functioning psychopath. He knows how to do shit, and he'll sell you out in a heartbeat because apparently there's a reptilian overlord somewhere that pays him gold right into his underwear. I don't know, but he sold us out, but he's a high-functioning psychopath. Same with George Bush. Trump is a high-functioning NPD guy, not quite a psychopath. And who else we got up? All these fucking politicians are basically got some type of cluster B disorder, and they're sellouts. And you know what? Any one of the founding fathers would literally walk into Congress, walk into the White House, and shoot these people in the fucking head and say, or hang them from a light pole out front.
No. Okay? No.
Andrew
That's not what sane people talk about. Fuck. I'm sane. Fuck. I need a bong hit. Jackie Cat, this one's for you, baby girl. See, if that's what sane is, I don't want to be sane. If sane is being angry and fearful, I don't want to be sane. Plus, there isn't sane. It's all relative. It's all subjective. One person's sane is another man's crazy. And that's the way a lot of stuff in life is. But to nail it down to this, I'm sane and you're sane, I'm not fucking sane. I don't even want to be part of that club. Why would I? They don't look happy or fun, and they're just way too serious, I guess. I don't know. Clean your room. Right. Yeah. That's gonna happen. Thank you, Jackie Cat. You're my favorite. Um, Whoa! That helps. Drink of tea. Now you know what all the sane people do. And I think that the sane people, I just don't think that there are sane people. I mean, I've met lots and lots of people. I talk to lots and lots of people. Let me explain to you like a basic thing that I see as not as this sane thing being subjective, objective, relative, right? I talk to all my neighbors, right? I say hi to them. What a beautiful day it is. They pet the dog, the pet Boo Bear, and so and I do my best to learn their names, right? Because it's just easier when you say hi Fred, hey buddy. And I like hi Fred better, what's up, G? I now the sanity thing. Back to the sanity thing. Hold on just a minute. Back to the sanity thing, right? I'm talking about, me not believing that there is sanity. I just, in our culture, in today's society, I don't see it. Okay, and the really simple example is, I was walking around the corner, and I was talking with one of the neighbors who lives at the end of a cul-de-sac, and at the end of the cul-de-sac is a walkthrough, right, and right across from them, like catty corner, right on the side of the walkthrough, is a neighbor who has a pool. You can see the pool from the other person's house. So I'm talking to the one person and I'm saying, hey, do you know Tim and Lori who live catty corner right next door? And this person's like a retired person, always dressed like they're really clean and shit, and their yard is impeccable and their garage is impeccable and all this stuff. Hey, do you know Tim and Lori who live next door? No. How is that sane? How is that? No, I don't know my neighbor that lives right next door that has a pool. Nobody has a pool in Seattle. How can you not know your neighbor? Oh my God. What's up, Chris?
No, not much, Mike. Having a good night. Went for a walk earlier. Very peaceful.
I thought you were tripping today.
I know. I did too. But the person bailed on me, Mike.
Oh, lame.
My Code X Space Explorer opted out. And whatever, it's his choice. I'm not a pusher or anything, I'm going to manipulate people who feel like they don't want to do something to not do it.
Yeah.
Although oddly enough, it was his suggestion. Like, I don't usually schedule things with other people like this, and so he scheduled it, and then he bailed on me. So in retrospect, I thought I'll wait. If I'm going to trip by myself and not trip with another person, I'll wait and do it by myself, where I'm just going to have fewer interactions with people, which is my own preference.
Sure.
But that's what I'll do instead. So I'll just wait a couple weeks, and I'll fit it into when I can get out of town. And because the price of gas is so expensive, I'm not. I did listen to Dr. Whisper earlier, and I said that I kind of thought that some of the things that he was talking about reminded me of that song "Institutionalized" by Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember that song?
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
It goes like, I'm trying to do things and it doesn't work out the way I wanted them to, and I get real frustrated, and it's like I try hard all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out the way I wanted to. That song, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, look, Whisper, I hope things work out for you, man. I really do. But like, you just can't beat yourself up like that. Just have a little self-respect, and things will work out. I know that advice sounds really easy to say for a person who isn't suffering like you are suffering necessarily. But in fact, like, it's probably the best attitude to have in a situation like that.
Look, this you can get through a day. You know what I mean? It's not the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that's tomorrow. Not today. Whatever, dude. It's gonna be okay unless you fucking give up. If you give up, that's the only way that it's not gonna be okay. Otherwise, we'll get through it.
Yeah, and if you don't get through it, it's probably still going to be okay. It'll just be a little bit more uncomfortable. It'll be a different situation.
No, you get through it.
The program will go on.
That's still getting through it. That's still getting through it. Even if you don't get the outcome that you want, you just keep moving forward. That's getting through it. Whatever it is, we get through it. And we get through it because we don't have another option. Because we're strong and we're able to get through it. So that's what we do. Okay? It's not a matter of, I can't do it. Of course you can. Unless you give up. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I mean, so a lot of people, do give up, and like suicidal tendencies, the thought of offing themselves, that is an option. But I think that's kind of like a cop-out in ways. Although I've had friends who've went that route, but I mean, it's a pretty extreme route to go that route. And I personally, Mike, look at it as like every moment that you experience while you're alive, regardless of how uncomfortable it is or unpleasant it is still some kind of moment where you're like recording information, like you record videos off of television, right? It's similar. It's like every moment you have an opportunity to record the reality around you. It's interesting, even if it's painful. So you don't just check out and say, I'm going to end it. It's just like, I'm done. I'm having a stressful day. It's over. Fini. So until the very last breath, I think that life is interesting.
It's part of the experience, it's part of the roller coaster ride. You don't just go up, up, up on a roller coaster, and it wouldn't be any fun if you did. Look, this is an adventure. Right? And it's just this like, oh, what's happening now? What's happening now? Like you're saying, you're kind of like documenting things, but it's not so much documenting as experiencing. You're like going, wow, that was trippy, or wow, I love that, or, you're just experiencing. And generally, it's character and soul building. It's the things that you need to experience.
I did watch the film that you recommended the other evening.
Colossal?
The Colossal.
Yeah.
Colossal. I watched it, and I also read a handful of reviews after I watched it and thought about it because it was an interesting movie.
Yeah.
You were right. It is an interesting movie. Again, it kind of reminds me of like the movie that I was talking about last week, Fight Club, where it's a person who has like a multiple personalities, so to speak, and it plays itself out in the story where you see like the other personality, but in two characters. But that same concept with this woman and this space that she discovers, where in the space that she discovers
Yeah.
and creates the monster in another place, is almost like her struggling with her own afflictions or her own problems that she's having as a person.
Yeah.
So the monsters and the battles that occur in the real world, are also occurring inside of herself.
Right.
And that's why it was a good movie, frankly. I mean, the actual dialogue and writing, it was okay.
Right.
The acting was good, but I mean, it could have been better. But it was a good movie, but it was interesting. And then other issues that were addressed were like the idea of alcoholism and drinking, a small town social entrapment where people like her friends felt jealous of her because she was able to escape and go to New York and have a life, and other people are envious of that.
Right.
And like what extremes you go to get that. That's kind of an interesting storyline, jealousy and envy. And then of course the theme of bullies, where the antagonist, inevitably the opposite of the protagonist in the story, is kind of an affable person until a certain point in the movie where his character changes and it shifts.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
But who ultimately becomes like the really tiny person who's jealous and envious and
Right.
wants to control everyone
Petty.
else's experience.
Petty.
Yeah.
Threatening.
Real petty.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then she has to address that and, ultimately decides maybe to go back to her boyfriend. But the point being is that, like, she has to reject that person who's really obnoxious. She has to reject that culture of, I'm going to hang out at the after bar party every night after work until 4 a.m. and wake up at noon and feel like shit. She has to get past all of that stuff. And the movie and the monster is a symbolic way of expressing all those things. And I liked it on that score. Plus, the Godzilla movie as the reality, where her character is a Godzilla monster in another city that's on CNN.
Yeah.
That was a cool twist. It reminded me of those Charlie Kaufman movies a lot, like Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Being John Malkovich. And he's done a couple of other movies. He did one recently in 2020 where you have two people in a play, and there's two other people they meet at a farmhouse. But over the course of like what you think is a dinner, it turns out to be like a 30-year period of time. And then you start to see this other character like as this janitor that is like a sole person, alone by themselves, freezing to death in a car during a snowstorm, and that's like the end of the movie, without any explanation of like why that's the end of the movie. Charlie Kaufman, pretty good stuff. But I enjoyed The Colossal. Also reminded me of The Fisher King.
Yeah.
Remember that movie by Terry Gilliam?
Yeah.
Where in the movie Robin Williams has a nervous breakdown after his wife is murdered, and he loses it. And the character Jeff Bridges was a radio personality who was kind of ridiculing him, and then through pure happenstance has to engage with him in his mental illness. And Robin Williams sees all of these strange, phantasmagorical creatures around him as he's going through his terror and his trials and tribulations. That was a good movie.
I love Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, Terry Gilliam's one of my favorites. The Colossal, it kind of is like a contemporary fairy tale. And I appreciate that, whatever. A little break from reality, but it was, more about psychology in certain ways.
Yeah, I thought it was, it's not a great movie or anything, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of interesting things, from Florida, which is an interesting place, but they have a contest in the summer where they catch the Burmese pythons.
Yeah.
Hunt the pythons.
I just saw a TV show about that. It was all about that.
Yeah. and people have come from all over the United States to kill these snakes, and I'm all for it because it's an invasive species and they shouldn't be there. I mean, it's just lame. But anyway, in the last week, they found the largest python in Florida, a Burmese python that weighed over 215 pounds.
That's a big snake.
It was 18 feet long, 5 meters long, and inside of its body, it had 122 developing eggs.
Nice. You get extra points for that.
They do. And they got extra points by using radio transmitters that they implanted into male scout snakes to study pythons. And then they could see them on a computer screen where they were going. And they came to the conclusion like they were going to these certain habitats, and that allowed them to identify the super large females that they were looking for. So it was done with science, which I found to be very interesting and almost encouraging, because if they can use other snakes to hunt snakes, I trust snakes more than I trust other forms of technology. I think they'll deal with eliminating Burmese pythons. But anyway, it talks about how the pythons, the story is from The Guardian, but they talk about they've removed 1,000 pythons from 100 square miles in southwest Florida in the last 8 years. They have a prize in August for 2 weeks. The largest python wins a prize of $2,500. Last year, 600 people came to Florida to participate in the contest. And anyway, Burmese pythons, and they do look kind of fucking scary, Mike. I'm glad I live in a place that, Burmese pythons cannot live here because it's too cold. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine with that.
I prefer that.
That's better for me. Nothing against Burmese pythons.
Well, I kind of have a problem with invasive species, so.
Yeah, they kill deer. They found in this animal they found when they took it back to the truck, cut off its head and ripped open its gullet. They found hooves of white-tailed deer that it was eating. It was eating white-tailed deer, and those are as big as dogs, or certainly small people. So they're big enough to where they could literally eat people. If you stumbled off the trail and you slipped and you bumped up against one and slipped down, it could kill you. Weird.
It could.
I don't need to be depressed.
It could.
It could just leave you alone. There was a bear here in Olympia that was seen on the campus of Evergreen State College 3 days ago. And the college put a notice out to the community and on their trailheads that said, "Caution, there's been a bear sighted on campus. Be careful." It's kind of funny, running around.
Well, hopefully, people don't get overly excited and take it out on the bear. Because, that happens, and the next thing you know, they're shooting the bear or tranquilizing the bear, and it's pretty fucked up, The bear's just trying to be a bear.
It is just trying to be a bear, and where that place is it's pretty close to a watershed, and the watershed goes back into a pretty large wooded area. So it probably wandered out of the woods down the watershed and then ended up, where it ended up. But I also saw a video on YouTube of a bear just in the last week or two in Naples, Florida, which is on the Gulf Coast of Florida, on the side of Clearwater. And it was a large black bear walking through a picturesque subdivision right next to a golf course that had just been installed. It was a very large black bear that had been living in the brush.
I'd love to see. I don't think I've ever seen a bear in the wild.
They're beautiful animals.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
I saw 4 owls tonight on the dog walk. 4
Lucky.
owls. Yeah, Actually, my friend, we walked with the dog, but my friend saw it. He's like, "That's an owl." And I stopped. He's pointed up, and there's an owl. And then he said, "Wait a minute, there's two." And then we looked up, and there were three. And then at the tree, another like 40 feet down the trail and up, there's four. So there were four of them at the same place for about 4 or 5 minutes. And they weren't very afraid of the people or the dog. They just were up there looking at us like, "Oh, well, when are these people going to keep going on with their walk?"
They have nothing to be afraid of. They're top of the food chain, man. They don't,
They are.
And they're probably babies. I bet at least one or two of. I bet at least two of them were babies.
I think you're right, Mike. I think that they were fledglings, and it also was a pretty tall fir tree, that they were lingering around this tall fir tree. So I think if I had looked further up the tree, like halfway up the tree, I would have maybe found the nest. I think the nest was really close.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a cool thing to see. And there was one story, besides the snake story, I wanted to talk to you about. And this was from Stop the Drug War. And in Colombia, as you know, the president who was the president for a while is gone. Eduardo Duque, I think was his name. He's gone. And he's been replaced by Gustavo Petro, who won the presidency on Sunday. He's the first center-left president of Colombia ever in its history. It's a big deal. And it's also like, the first, they're pretty legitimate elections where the left won. He's called for, according to Stop the Drug War, he has called for legalizing marijuana. He says, "The issue of marijuana seems stupid to me to keep it underground," he said in a recent interview. Ex-presidents relative to the business of exporting legal marijuana, and on the other hand, they throw bombs at the peasants and their children who produce marijuana in southwestern Colombia. The possibility of legal exportation of marijuana for recreational and medicinal purposes through licenses from the national government has friends with political power in Colombia. If Colombia does not get its act together, we are going to lose that business. So he's pushing for legalization of marijuana, the person who just became president of Colombia.
Like you said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that it's, this fucking game about it being legal. It makes zero sense.
Yeah. He has also said that he doesn't believe in the drug war. He, quote, "Colombia doesn't need more violence to stop the drug war. The drug war is fought with capitalism and it's not with lead or more violence."
Right.
He advocates for voluntary crop substitution instead of forced eradication for coca farmers, also has promised to use marijuana as a substitute crop. His position on coca and cocaine legalization was initially unclear during the campaign, but there is a bill right now in the Colombian legislature that would authorize a pilot project to directly buy coca from farmers hardest hit by drug trafficking and state violence and allow the government to set a legal coca market price. And the bill is 2 years old. It was stopped by the right-wing president who was president before. Of course, there are many drug gangs and, outselling cocaine in Colombia. The reason why this is important news, this new president of Colombia, is because there's a new president of Peru that was just elected, and there also is the former president of Evo Morales in Bolivia, which came back to power. So the three countries where like 90% of the world's cocaine comes from, Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia, all could create a regional coca bloc.
That'd be awesome, dude. That'd be awesome.
Stop the drug war. And in Bolivia, they've decriminalized the ability of farmers to grow coca plants. The former president of Bolivia was a coca grower.
Right.
He started a union for coca leaf growers. And the current president of Peru, who's only been a president for less than 3 months, one of his ideas is he also is against the drug war, but is to literally buy cocaine on the market, have the government do like a rebuy of cocaine that they find in the black market in Peru, for example, as a way to I mean, I don't know.
You got to
The
do
ultimate
something. What
answer
they're
for-
doing now just doesn't work. So
If they legalized it though, that, and I don't think it's going to happen because I think this is an example where if this became an idea in those three countries, people would be murdered. They would be killed.
there's but
because
there's
the-
more to it than that though too. Is like there's UN regulations that if you have these drugs legal in your country, then you can't receive UN aid and shit like that. So there's more to it than just
That's exactly.
yeah.
That's exactly right. That's one of the things they talked about in a few of these articles. That is that if they were to all legalize it and create a market, they could be punished by the United Nations and the World Health Organization and other international institutions. But it's still good news in the sense that this guy won, and he wants to legalize cannabis. He believes that, he could work with his neighbors on coca and so on. But cocaine on the world market estimated value is between, and this is probably greater than this, but between 100 to $300 billion a year.
Yeah, that sounds low to me. That sounds low. Hey, Chris, I got to take a break. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought. Go ahead and finish your thought, but I got to go.
Last thought was, all of the cocaine that's sold in Europe and North America, all of it, I read, could be grown in 14 square miles.
Wow.
For the entire world's consumption of cocaine. Just to put that in perspective, $300 billion, 14 square miles of coca fields for the entire world's supply of cocaine. Weird thought, huh?
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, Mike, have a good night.
Okay, enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you before too long.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so this is Tulsi Gabbard talking about trans athletes, and it seems to be a big part of the discussion today, so I thought we'd go ahead and play that. Plus, I like Tulsi, so I'll be back in a minute.
We'll hear from Michael, Seattle, Washington, on our No Line. Hi.
Hi, thanks very much for taking my call. Can I say something about
Today, female athletes, parents, and advocates gathered in Washington, D.C. to rally for our bodies, our sports. They are supporting female athletes and advocating for single-sex sport competition. The rally also comes on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the law which prohibits sex-based discrimination in education, and the law also guarantees women the right to equal athletic opportunities. Former Congresswoman and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard was at this event earlier today. She joins us. Nice to see you, Congresswoman.
Good to see you. Good to be here, Greta.
Okay, so I know you've been on the East Coast for a while, but you traveled far from Hawaii. Why was it so important to you to come to this?
You know, this 50th anniversary of Title IX really highlights the incredible opportunities and progress that have been made over the last 50 years. And so when you see actions like those taken by the Biden administration today, and a lot of the changes that we've seen that are essentially pointing to the erasure of women, both through actions like, hey, we're not going to use the word mother or father in legislative language. We're not going to say a mother. We're going to call someone a birthing person. And then you see the Biden administration really rejecting the objective reality that there are biological differences between a man and a woman, a male and a female. And so I felt it was so important to stand with these brave athletes and their families today who came out really to say, hey, yes, there are very clear differences and there are very negative consequences to the decisions that are being made by this administration and others that are hurting girls and women.
All right, you may be a little bit ahead of the curve on this. You know, this lately it's been a lot of discussion. When you left Congress, didn't you have a bill before you left Congress on this very topic, before it sort of hit the radar screen, everyone discussing it?
I started to hear from parents, you know, so some of those
that was December, what, December 2020?
That was in December of 2020. We saw those girls in Connecticut who were racing against biological boys and who had been champions before and were now losing these races and essentially being told by these biological boys, run faster, essentially suck it up, train harder, when they knew that they had been training as hard as they possibly could and that there are physiological, biological differences between them and these biological boys. And so I joined with my Republican colleague and friend, Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma, who, by the way, has 3 daughters who compete in wrestling and who understands as a father what a scary this thing is if his daughters are forced to compete against biological boys. And so it was a very simple bill, Protect Women's Sports Act, and very directly sought simply to uphold the intent of Title IX.
You know, I'm old enough to remember when Title IX was enacted. In fact, my year of high school was the last year we didn't have it, and the idea of women's sports or girls' sports is to pile about 6 or 8 girls into a car and run around town. I mean, because we had no sports,
Right.
there was nothing. But for girls and women afterwards, it was leadership. It was learning to work with others. It was healthy. It was achievement. It was scholarships. I mean, it was such when that was signed by Richard Nixon, Title IX, it was such a big deal.
It's huge, and I think people forget sometimes that literally it was about prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sex. And you look at the battles that were fought to be able to get to that point, to prohibit that discrimination. Again, generally understanding there are biological differences between these sexes of male and female. And so to completely dismiss that is to dismiss that there is objective reality, to dismiss that there is truth, and to then believe that, anyone could just walk up one day and say, hey, you know what? A man can say, I'm a woman, and then that's it. In fact, biology proves otherwise.
Is there a place for a third league? Or I mean, we have women's
Sure.
leagues, men's league. I mean, is there a place for a third league? Would that make things easier, better, accommodating?
I think there are ways to be able to make sure that people who fall into that category, whether they are trans men or women who identify in different genders, are not hurting and undercutting and essentially erasing the reality that women do exist.
I saw the woman who was swimming, and I think to myself, as people who swim, it's like, I remember there's a lot of swimmers that they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's
They
right.
train all day long to get these scholarships, and and it's sort of a surprise then all these years later to compete against someone who might be physically more able.
And in that case, very seriously, more physically able, both in, as a swimmer, you have, just the build of your body. I talked with some of the college students that were there today, and they spoke about Leah Thomas in particular, and how about in that specific situation in the women's locker room, Leah Thomas was exposing male genitalia and boasting about how he was still dating women and going out with women, and these girls felt sexually harassed and threatened, went and reported it to their administrators, and were told, be silent. Be silent. In any other situation, authorities would have taken action immediately. And I think that just speaks to the fear that exists around this, why we're not seeing any action really coming from Congress to take a stand.
What do you think? Why is this not?
It's this cancel culture. It's this self-censoring. It's this thing that is as obvious to any one of us as, night and daytime, is that there are biological differences between men and women, period. That is a reality. And the fact that that is no longer a widely accepted for the truth that it is speaks to the fact that we have too many weak leaders in Washington who are not taking a stand for our women and girls of today and generations to come. It's absurd.
One quick question: you still surfing?
As much as possible.
Anyway, always nice to see you,
Nice
Congressman.
to see you,
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Well, the WNBA has found a special way to honor basketball star Brittany Griner. Tonight, she remains in Russian custody and has been in their custody since February. Well, Griner has been selected as an honorary All-Star and starter for the WNBA All-Star Game in Chicago this July. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert released a statement saying in part, "It's not difficult to imagine that if Brittany Griner were here with us this season, she would once again be selected and would, no doubt, show off her incredible talents." Throughout her career, Griner has appeared in 7 other WNBA All-Star games. And still ahead,
Miss that there is truth, and to then believe that, anyone could just walk up one day and say, hey, you know what? A man can say, I'm a woman, and then that's it. In fact, biology proves otherwise.
is there a place for a third league? Or I mean, we have women's
Sure.
leagues, men's league. I mean, is there a place for a third league? Would that make things easier, better, accommodating?
I think there are ways to be able to make sure that people who fall into that category, whether they're trans men or women who identify in different genders, are not hurting and undercutting and essentially erasing the reality that women do exist.
You know, I saw
That's a fucking t-shirt right there, okay? You want to fucking get a t-shirt on your SD that sells 1 million of them? Women do exist. Bam. Make it so. Go sell 1 million t-shirts. Remember me when you do. Women do exist. Right there. That's your fucking $1 million t-shirt idea. I'm telling you, women do exist. It will be very popular with just the slightest amount of marketing. Ah! But you just have to market it to the right people. The anti-abortion people would love it. But that's, so you have to kind of expand on that a little bit to like the Christian right. You get it in the Christian right, oh my God, you'll sell like 10 million t-shirts overnight. Get it on the right Christian mailing list, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Like millions of t-shirts overnight. Women do exist. Remember where you got it. We should be wearing, you know what? We should be like handing those t-shirts out down at these rallies. You know, it's weird. It's like they were saying there should be like a third category, which makes the most sense to me. You want to compete, that's great. Let's say transgenders can compete against transgenders. That seems more than fair, doesn't it? That seems more than fair. I think maybe I don't understand the whole, you know, everything that's going on there. Maybe I don't. It's entirely possible. Wouldn't be the first time. But it seems like until it is resolved that would be the way to go about this. You can compete. And and a lot of this stuff, like Tulsi was talking about the exposing the male genitalia and talking about how you're still banging women, you know, that's not what you expect in a female locker room. So, I would be, if I was female, no, I couldn't do that. But if I had a daughter, this would be very frustrating to me, which is why I don't have a daughter or a son, because I don't need that kind of aggravation. Now, it is Dabs for Donations Friday. Jackie Cat once again being a standout. I have another video for you all. You know, we're not getting a whole lot of phone action. If you'd like to call, the number's right there on the screen, 805-669-6397, 805 News. But I have a couple more videos that I'll be happy to play for you. One from the BBC, from the British News, in which they're talking about the Supreme Court ruling on the New York concealed carry laws, which again, I like open carry. I like open carry. I love when people open carry. I love seeing people with a fucking AR-15 slung over their shoulder. I love that. It makes me feel more safe. Unless, of course, it was the police, you know. But I have, you know, at first, it's a peculiar thing. You see it and you go, you know, something weird. It's out of the ordinary. It's not what you see every day, everywhere you go. And you go, double take. And you go, yeah, Like it. Good. That's a good plan. I'm glad those guys are here. So I love the open carry laws. Now, concealed carry is probably more important in downtown New York. Maybe. Probably. You probably want to know in downtown New York when some guy's walking around with an AR-15 over his shoulder or her shoulder that she's not there to shoot the place up. Right? I mean, this would be something cops would be concerned about because it's such a compact area, so overly populated, so much tension, so much anger. Open carry might not work in the city itself. Now, outside the city, in the rural areas, New York is very rural. And I again, this is where you see open carry mostly. I really, I would like to see it more in the Seattle area. I would, because I think it detours crime in a big way. I really do. I've talked about a friend of mine who was killed at an ATM, cash machine, because the guy wanted his cell phone, you know, and he shot him. Took his cell phone and shot him. And I just think that if he had been open carrying or somebody else in line had been open carrying, just like a 9mm on their belt, that this guy would have gone, well, I can get that person's cell phone over there. I don't need to mess with the guy standing next to the guy with the gun on his belt. This is why I like the open carry. Because it stops the criminals before they start, right? You come into a restaurant and you're going to rob the restaurant, and you see two guys sitting at the counter, sitting in front of a stack of pancakes, and they got AR-15s over their shoulder. You're going to walk back out of that restaurant, right? So, I would like to see that a lot more. But I can understand the concealed carry. My dad was always a concealed carry guy. Everywhere he went, he had a couple of guns, one in his boot, one in his belt. And it was just the way things were, And I never really had concerns about my life, And it's not that when I see the guys with the AR-15s open carrying, or somebody with a 9mm on their belt open carrying, that I think, oh, yay, I feel safer now. It's that it's not that I myself feel safer, because I don't have those worries about being safe. It's that the whole place is now safer, and I'm glad. I'm glad that everywhere is in this moment is safer, because there's a lot of people there, and I'm sure a lot of people have lots and lots of concerns, and not only that, things that they're not done. They have things left to experience, like their grandchildren and stuff like that. And these people who would be carrying a gun like that, carrying openly, so that if someone did walk into the restaurant with intent to rob it and saw those guys sitting at the counter and then still decided to rob it, those guys might make it so that these other people who have things to experience, like grandchildren, get to experience those things. Because these guys who had guns deterred whatever the situation was, the people who have things to experience, like grandchildren, actually get to experience those things. So the people that are afraid of law-abiding citizens and their guns are really program. There's something like, I get the fear thing, and I'm not telling you to move beyond the fear, although you should. But what I'm telling you is that these are good people, and they're not criminals. And when you have people that are criminals and they have guns, you want good people around who have guns. Otherwise, you're at the bad people with guns mercy. And that is not a good place to be. So, I don't mean to lecture you. It's just the way I see things, the way I've always seen things, the way I grew up. It was, I'm not going down without a fight. And I think that's kind of the American spirit, right? That's what it says on the front page, on the thumbnail of this video. It says liberty or death. Okay? And if you don't have liberty, if you don't have freedom, what's the point? Living under the heel of the jackbooted thugs that protect the fucking elitist cunts? That's the point of living? That's the way you want to live? If we don't have freedom, what do you have? What's the point? Why would you bring up children? Why would you bring children into a prison? If we don't have freedom, then then we should be doing something about it. We should be helping each other instead of blaming each other for the problems. We should be helping each other maintain our liberty. Right? It's not, you don't need liberty from your next door neighbor. Again, we need liberty from the fucking government. We need liberty that says, hey, we have these rights and you're not going to fuck with them. And we don't have that right now. What we have right now is no right to privacy. What we have right now is no right to freedom of speech. What we have right now, we have the Second Amendment. And this is why I say that the founding fathers, or the people that were writing the Constitution, when they wrote it, they wrote it in a very specific way. The reason that the Second Amendment is second is because what they says, we recognize, we hold these truths to be self-evident, right? We recognize that this is what the truth is. This is the facts, and that is that you have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to freedom of expression, and the government's been threatened by that. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but regardless. Oh, I know what it was, right? You have the right to freedom of expression. So this is why the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. This is what I was talking about. First Amendment, first right. You have the right to freedom of expression. You have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to live your life the way you see fit. To have your religion, freedom of religion. All of this falls under speech, right? So you have the right to speech. You have the right to as the tippy top of the food chain with the 20,000 word plus vocabulary, you have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to live your life the way you see fit. Number one. Number two, no one will ever take that right from you without your permission. No one will ever. First, you have the right to live your life the way you want. First Amendment. Second Amendment, No one will ever take that right from you. That's the way I see the point of the Second Amendment. Again, not to protect you from your neighbors, but to protect you from the government, who's going to say, oh, well, you don't have the right to this religion. You don't have the right to express yourself in this way. That's why the Second Amendment is there. Because your neighbors aren't really going to tell you that you don't have the right to express yourself in that way. And if they do, you explain to them that you do have the right to express yourself in that way by saying, fuck you. Because that's your right. It's your house. You're not like fucking with somebody else. You're not breaking the rules. You know, you're simply living your life. And if they have a problem with that, then, you know, this is why you have the rights. They can call the police can come, and you can say, hey, I have the right to do this. And the police can go over to them, and they can say, hey, he has the right to do that. You know, not breaking any laws, you know. Oh, yeah, I can hear that the music's loud. It's not after 10 p.m., so the music can be loud. Whatever it is. Excuse me. So, that's why we need the Second Amendment, to protect all the other rights. Because without it, the government can't wait to take away our rights. The government can't take away, I mean, you've watched them strip away everything they possibly can, and they continue to do it. Your rights are there, not to make you feel secure in your home from all your neighbors, or, you know, whatever. Your rights are there to protect you from the government. 90% of why your rights are there is to protect you from the government. It's the government that's going to make laws against you. It's the government that's going to tell you you can't do this again and again and again until you fight. You know, this is like the right to the right for women to vote, right? This is the government. It's the government that's holding women back from being able to do this. Our blessed beacon, our shiny beacon in the world, is holding women back. This is what government is. They do everything in their power to hold us back and limit our freedom. So, and it doesn't matter which side we're talking about. And I think probably the majority of people might be beginning to understand that. I think the majority of people have just tuned out. It's just like, what's the point? You know, we try and fix it, we try and fix it, we try and fix it. And all these evildoers make it impossible. Why aren't there good people that are in Congress? Why is everyone in Congress evil? Fuck. It makes all of us, it makes every American look evil. Maybe, I don't know. It's not like Saddam Hussein made, you know, every Iraqi look evil. You know, it's not like President Xi makes every Chinese person look evil. It's not like Vladimir Putin makes every Russian look evil. So maybe our government doesn't make all of us look evil. Maybe, hopefully. But if you're looking at the Russian people and thinking that they're evil, or the Iraqi people, you need to recognize that people are people. You know, people do need help. People do need help. All people need help. Even these rich fucking cunts who have everything, they can't wipe their own ass without help. Okay? Everybody needs help. So factor that in as you move through this land of the crazies. Everybody needs help. It's okay. We'll get through it. The best chance of us getting through it is by helping each other. So we'll get through it one way or another. We always do. Whatever it is. We don't have any other choice. Now, do we? So I'm going to play a video because I can, and it's that time, and I want to heat up my tea, and so many other reasons. Did I mention this Dabs for Donations Thursday? And that I'd love to do a dab in your honor. I am going to play a video, and I will be right back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, it's always better when you're here.
The United States Supreme Court said today that law-abiding Americans generally have a right to carry a handgun outside the home, in a major expansion of the right to bear arms in America. This landmark ruling struck down a law in New York that limited people's right to carry concealed weapons in public. The justices ruled that this law violated the constitutional right to bear arms. The ruling comes after recent mass shootings in the United States have led to calls for stricter gun controls. Well, let's go to our correspondent, Neda Tawfiq, who's in New York. And Neda, what is the impact of this ruling going to be, not only in New York, but in other states that make it really difficult for you to carry a concealed weapon in public?
Yeah, well, Laura, the concern here in New York by officials is that it will mean more guns in the street. I mean, the New York Mayor Eric Adams said when he spoke to his team asking about the threat level here from a 1 to 10, they put it at a 10. We have here in the city a surge in gun crime. It's a central platform of this mayor to tamp down on that. And so he is concerned now that this will harm that effort. As you mentioned, a handful of other states with similar laws, they too will now have to be examining their law to see if it is in non-compliance with this Supreme Court ruling.
And Neda, you've reported from the scene, for example, of that mass shooting on the New York subway just a couple of weeks ago. Are we now going to have a situation where potentially more New Yorkers are able to carry concealed weapons in public because they have a right to self-defense?
Yeah, well, Laura, look, the Supreme Court made clear that this ruling doesn't prevent New Yorkers from having to get that proper license, that states can deem certain parts of the city as sensitive areas like the subway, like Times Square. And so what we know is that lawmakers are looking at how they can have a comprehensive review of deeming certain areas sensitive, of looking at what other laws they can put on the books to limit guns in other ways. I mean, we saw Kathy Hochul after the recent mass shooting in Buffalo already limiting assault rifles, already limiting bulletproof vests being owned by private citizens. So New York is really trying to see what else they can do. But yes, the Supreme Court is now expanding gun rights in a way that the interpretation of that very law could put other gun measures up for consideration at the highest court as well.
And Neda, is the Supreme Court ruling by these justices, who are appointed for life, is it at odds with what public opinion polling shows the opinion of Americans is on gun restrictions?
Yeah, Laura, the majority of Americans are in favor of tighter controls on guns. And certainly, I mean, after this ruling, which many in New York had anticipated, given how the oral arguments played out in November, we spoke to New Yorkers, and all of them said, look, even for those who are very concerned about the protection of the Second Amendment, who fear that there's this larger plot to take away people's guns, that should be, of course, protected, that Second Amendment, but that those key measures to keep Americans safe, that is something that is supported by the majority of Americans, and it should be something that lawmakers are able to rally around. So while we are seeing now in the Senate 15 Republicans joining with Democrats to try to pass the first gun control measure in decades, even then it doesn't go as far as some advocates would like and what the majority of the public would like to see.
Neda Tawfiq, thank you. Well, as Neda was saying just there, as the Supreme Court issued that ruling, making it harder for states to place limits on who can carry guns, here in Washington, in response to the recent mass shootings, US senators are racing to pass a new gun safety law. Let's talk now to Ron Christie, who worked in the White House of President George W. Bush and is with me now. So, Ron, can you explain to our viewers, not just in America but around the world, how these two things are happening at once? The Supreme Court is basically expanding the right of Americans to bear arms in public, and yet lawmakers, in response to the recent mass shootings, are going to restrict who can own a gun.
Well, good evening to you, Laura. I think what we saw today with the Supreme Court in a 6-3 majority opinion is the Supreme Court said, New York, you cannot infringe the ability of people in certain circumstances to own a firearm. Our Second Amendment to our Constitution is very clear that citizens shall not have their ability, their rights to be infringed upon by the government. And that's one thing I think that your viewers around the world need to understand is that it's the government has the burden, not the citizen, about their ability to bear arms. So there's one thing there. The second thing that we bring up is that there are 15 Republican senators who have said enough's enough, looking at Buffalo, looking at some of these mass shootings and saying, let's find a way to reach across the aisle and pass legislation and have certain limitations. Let's put certain money aside for mental health. Let's try to find a way to mitigate the violence. So it's interesting, as Neda just mentioned in the last segment, that overwhelming numbers of Americans support having certain restrictions, but the Supreme Court today said we're going to expand the Second Amendment, not restrict it.
Fascinating. Ron, stay with us. We're going to come back to you for more news on the other big American story of the day, and that, of course, is...
All right, so I have a nice big fat puff for my man, Miguel, who kicked down on the PayPal. Thanks so much, Miguel. Very nice of you. And it's nice of any of you who would like to share a little something something or give a little something back to Mox News. But this one is for Miguel. Again, my man, Miguel, here you go, bud. Thank you so much. Whoa! All right, people. The telephone number is up there on the screen. Thanks so much, Miguel. That was awesome. The telephone number is up there on the on the screen, people. If you'd like to call, it's 805-669-6397. 805 Mox News. 805-669-6397. And Okay. I have more videos. I can play another video. I'm gonna play another video. You know, I talk about the Second Amendment. I talk about open carry. Talk about concealed carry. I talk about my childhood. I think you know, I don't know how else to more sincerely express my experience with the Second Amendment and you know what I think it's about, you know, why it's in the Constitution, to protect all the other amendments. First, you have the right to live your life the way you see fit. And second, no one will ever take that right from you. You can give it up, but no one will ever take it from you. Liberty or death, motherfuckers! So, I love that spirit. You know, I love that spirit. I don't know how anyone can think that the best idea is for us to give up some of our rights. I mean, this is some kind of programming, some kind of brainwashing. That has to be where it's coming from. It's not just like, oh, this makes sense to give up our rights. Does it? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's just my brain. It doesn't compute in. Maybe it's just my brain. I don't know. A lot of things don't compute in my brain. So, if you think that giving up your rights will make you safer, the way that I see it is that giving up your rights will only lead to giving up more of your rights and giving up more of your rights and giving up more of your rights until you don't have any left. And that's the direction that we are headed, and it's the direction that we've been headed a long, long time. So, giving up our rights, letting these fucking cunts in Congress who think that they own us and that they tell us how we're supposed to live our lives. Fucking cunts. That is the last thing that Congress is supposed to do, is tell us how we're supposed to live our lives. Let them monitor the fucking giant corporations and tell them how they're conduct their business, but not us. Not us everyday people who go out and live our everyday lives so that you elitist fucking cunts can drive around in limousines and the laws never touch you. Why would they be threatened by us? Why would they be threatened by our freedom? What is it that we could possibly say that could be so detrimental to them? We got to clamp down on the freedom of speech. Doesn't that just make us look guilty if we cut down on the freedom of speech? We're afraid somebody's going to say something and it's going to make us look bad. And there's a lot of things to say. So you can't say that. Hunter Biden laptop. You can't say that. Worthless vaccine. You can't say that. Plandemic. You can't say that. And this is the government that's supposed to be protecting our rights. But in reality, it's the government that our rights are supposed to be protecting us from. And that's why we have to not just protect our rights and defend our rights, but we have to exercise our rights. We have to express ourselves. We have to say no more fucking government spying on law-abiding citizens. Okay? This is out of fucking control. Oh, but we have a war on terror, right? You mean like where the governor of Wisconsin, Minnesota? The governor of Wisconsin, Michigan? The governor of Michigan is going to get kidnapped. Big old FBI's fucking broke up that plot. No, the FBI recruited the people that they arrested. They funded the people that they arrested. They trained the people that they arrested. I'm sorry, the FBI recruited the people they arrested. The FBI funded the people they arrested, including buying them food, buying them hotels, motels. The FBI trained the people they arrested. Okay, so this governor is gonna get kidnapped by these people who've been plotting to do it. All fucking bullshit set up by the government agency that's supposed to be protecting us. Why? Because the for-profit police state, for-profit comply or die police state, they have a war on terror going on that makes the comply or die part even more, real. And the war on terror, without terror, can't really continue now, can it? But if we foil a plot to kidnap the governor, the FBI will be champions, and the war on terror will have come home, and the FBI will be needed more than ever, which means the FBI will be funded more than ever. These fucking cops, this fucking CIA, fucking FBI, this fucking Department of Homeland Security, they create the crime. They're the one. The police need there to be crime. Again, but there's a shortage of police officers. Well, why then, when this person who lives across the street from me is absolutely no harm to anyone, been living there for years, pretty much keeps to herself, just stays behind her fence and shouts stupid stuff about Narnia and Princess Bride and Bill Gates and police. And and she stops when it's 10 p.m. or wherever it has to get quiet time. She stops. But the neighbors call the cops on her, and 6 fucking cop cars show up. Okay, but there's a shortage of police, right? The police need there to be crime. They don't need, this isn't a crime scene. There's not guns. There's not gunfire. There's not cars speeding away. This is a woman who needs, basic help. And 6 cop cars show up. Because all this crime is going on everywhere, and there's a cop shortage, and 6 of them show up for this nothing burger. Hello, caller.
Michael.
What's up, G?
Oh my God. What's up, G?
Sounds like you're getting ready for your trip.
Yeah, man, getting ready. I'm fucking drug smuggling to fucking Virginia, homie. What's up?
Man's got to have priorities, damn it.
I'm gonna get fucking arrested by the fucking federales. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I'm sure you can find a special place to put it where they won't find it.
Well, no, I think so. Well, the TSA, right?
Yeah.
So when they go through your baggage, they're looking for electronics and weapons. They're not looking for, edibles, right? Like food,
Yeah.
gummies and shit. I
Yeah.
think should fly right under the radar. I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
But I still want to. Well, here's the thing. Like the TSA is a federal agency, and they don't abide by state laws. So it doesn't matter if it's technically it's legal in Mass, it's legal in Virginia where I'm going, but
It's legal
but
in
federally-
Virginia? It's legal in Virginia?
Recreationally, yes, it is legal in Virginia.
Why don't you
But
just go there and buy a
federally-
shitload of weed there, man?
Well, in Virginia, they don't have stores where you can buy marijuana yet.
Oh, so it's okay. So gotcha.
They're not ahead of the curve like us.
Yeah.
Like Washington and Massachusetts. They're so yeah. They just recently, very recently, made rec weed legal. But the federales don't give a fuck about that. Like I was saying in the chat to Jackie, the federales, the TSA don't give a fuck. When you're in the airport, you are under the
Federal
the
jurisdiction.
jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You're under the jurisdiction of the TSA. So if you get caught with weed in the airport, that's illegal. That's under federal law. That shit's illegal.
Yeah.
But the TSA, first of all, the TSA, everyone who works for the TSA, first of all, is smoking weed.
I
Every
would
single
think
one of them.
so. I would think. I mean, yeah.
I mean, none of them, yes, absolutely. You think the people that work for the TSA are like, really give a shit, first of all? They're all getting fucking high.
Well, I think
They're-
I think the people at the TSA probably think that they have a lot more important things to look for than weed. That's what I think.
Yes, I would hope so. I
Yeah.
would hope so. So, I got my little bag of gummies. I have, about 700 milligrams worth of gummies stuffed in one little pouch. And
That's
I think that'll slide right through. Now Jackie on the other hand is encouraging me to go to push through with the vape, to try to push my vape pen through, because this is in airports, lots of people have vape pens and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously,
Right.
but it's not. They don't know what's in it. Right, so if the TSA, gets curious, they may say, "Hey, I'm just, I'm trying to not ruin my vacation here."
Yeah, fuck yeah. You don't want any hassle on when you're chilling.
But I'm thinking about it. It's like I would really like to have my vape pen at the same time while I'm riding some roller coasters here. So I'm weighing the risk on two hands here.
Are the cartridges that you use in the vape pen, are they like, what kind of pen are you using?
It looks like a pen. It's
A long cylinder?
A rhythm.
It looks like what?
Yeah, a rhythm.
Okay.
It's a rhythm pen.
Yeah.
It looks like a pen that you would write with.
Yeah. So, and you have cartridges, you buy cartridges that go in it, right?
Yeah.
And do the cartridges fit in other batteries too, or just that one?
Oh no, yeah.
The cartridges have like a
Hey
unit.
man, I think it just might work.
Yeah. I think there's a better chance that it will work than it won't work. It's just a matter of taking the chance, that's all. I think there's a much better chance that it will work than it won't work.
I'm going for it, homie.
You go there, General.
I don't give a fuck, dude. Like I said, everyone who works for the TSA gets high.
Well, there you go.
None of them give a fuck.
And you know how
They're
stupid.
They're all getting high.
You know how
Like I
stupid.
couldn't.
You know how stupid it would be that somebody's going, oh yeah, I got busted for weed. Everybody be like, what? You know what I mean?
Well, it's just more paperwork for them. It's more, if you catch someone with weed,
Yeah.
they have to fill out all this paperwork
I
and shit.
bet,
And they don't
huh?
want to do that.
Fuck no, nobody wants that.
And they all smoke weed themselves too, without question. If you work for the TSA, you smoke weed. I guarantee. I've seen the people that work for the TSA. They all get high. I'm fucking telling you.
I'm not arguing. I think everyone should be getting high. I think it's really unfortunate that some people can't get weed safely. Really, really, really unfortunate.
Safe weed. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy notion, right?
Well, just access to it, I mean, a lot of people don't have access to cannabis, man. They need it. They need it.
Dude, I forget how dope Massachusetts is. I live in Massachusetts.
Yeah?
And I'm flying to Virginia, and I'm like, oh, Virginia doesn't even have. I can't even buy weed when I go there. Like, that's not cool.
Well, you just
I
got
forget,
done saying
I live in one of the few states, and you as well, Michael, where it's like I can literally drive around the block and buy whatever Willy Wonka level weed factory shit is going on in the town over there.
Yeah, it definitely.
And it's not like that in most of America. You can't get shit. You have to buy weed off of some sketchy guy and shit. Like I remember when I used to do that. Oh, it was terrible those days.
Well, I don't know how sketchy the people were that I would get weed from, but I always kind of look at them like heroes. You're my hero. But I agree. It's like going to the candy store, man. You walk in there, and it's like there's a South Park episode where he goes all the KFCs, all the Kentucky Fried Chickens change over to medical marijuana dispensaries in Colorado, and he walks into a dispensary and he's like, how can I help you? And he's like, well, you're just selling weed out in the open? Yeah. He's like, I want a quarter pound of that and a half pound of that. Fuck yeah. Candy store, dude.
Dude, that's how Massachusetts is. It's beautiful. They're popping up all over the place. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
It's awesome. I agree. I don't know about the most.
But you were talking the other day about the marijuana snobbery. And it is a bit annoying.
What was that? What about the marijuana? What is it that's annoying about the marijuana snobbery?
Well, these people that they ain't smoke weed like you and me, Michael.
Yeah.
We've been smoking weed a long time. And then we got these young kids coming in here who are trying to tell us about. They're like wine sommeliers or whatever. Trying to tell me about the differences. Like, bro, get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. I've been smoking weed since you were in your fucking daddy's nutsack. Shut the fuck up.
You don't even know.
And shut your fucking face. I hate these kids. They try to sound sophisticated. It's ridiculous.
I smoke shit you can't even get, dude. I smoke fucking real Thai sticks. Do those even exist anymore? I guarantee they don't exist at your fucking neighborhood dispensary. I smoke real Colombian gold. Fucking made me laugh my ass off uncontrollably. I don't think you can get that at the neighborhood fucking dispensary. You might get something that'll make you laugh your ass off. I don't think you can get that real Colombian gold shit. So, I don't think you can get real Thai sticks. I know you can't get real Thai sticks.
Shit. I know about real Thai sticks. But I smoke some good shit, for sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's awesome though to know that everybody has access, because safe access, because it's so important. I mean, Pete, I've telling you for years you're not eating enough cannabis, and then finally you figured out that you're not eating enough cannabis.
Yeah, the eating of cannabis is so important. It really is. I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't get cannabis. Holy shit. In fact, that's been like, yeah, my whole rehabilitation, has been based upon edible marijuana.
It'll help you through anything. Go ahead. Sorry.
It really, yeah. If you're recovering from anything,
Yeah,
heroin, cocaine, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that fucking bullshit. You need edible marijuana. That shit'll pull you right through.
Yeah. Well, it's just gonna, and whatever it is, I'm not talking about necessarily, drug addiction. Although, if you're trying to get through some kind of addiction, the weed.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Michael. I'm talking about some real shit.
Well, I'm talking
I'm
about
talking about some motherfuckers that are going through some real shit out there.
Well, I'm talking about, I'm talking about Steve McClanahan shit. I can't take it anymore. You're not eating enough cannabis. It's that simple.
You know what, Steve McClanahan? Don't even get me started on Steve McClanahan. Don't even mention the name that cannot be spoken.
Okay, I gotcha. I won't do it
The name
again.
of Steve McClanahan.
I won't do it again.
The legend. It's like I almost like see a tumbleweed, like blowing through the wind when I hear the name Steve McClanahan.
Well, he misses you
In
when
my
you're
mind.
not around, so you know.
It's like he's out there. He's just a tumbleweed out there, just collecting dust out there wherever the fuck he is.
He is definitely out there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, man. Wish me luck on my trials and tribulations on my plane, fucking with the TSA.
What time are you leaving?
Telling them all to suck my dick. Fucking about noon, I'll be getting on my plane.
Noon?
Yeah, about noon, I'll be getting on. Getting high as fuck.
You got everything packed?
Yep. Check the news for reports of a disgruntled passenger who was treated poorly by the TSA.
I'm not worried about that. I haven't seen you be really disgruntled. Disgruntled is kind of a level above where you're at. I think. You're not going to jail, as far as you know.
I'm not going back. Staying away from there.
Look, man, like you said, or like I said, I would think that they would have much more important things to do than, as long as, if you see it and just don't fuck with them, don't be like, be defensive or anything, just.
I just don't want to fuck up my awesome weekend of riding dope ass roller coasters.
Well,
but I have to have the marijuana. It's gonna happen. I'm sliding it through the border. It's happening one way or another.
I have to have the marijuana. Jane says, I'm done with Sergio.
Gonna have my Mary Jane.
Jane said, I'm gonna kick tomorrow. God, I gotta have my marijuana today, though. I'm gonna kick tomorrow. I look, you know how I am. I don't smoke a lot, though. I smoke on the camera, but I don't even have a puff before the show 90% of the time. So I don't smoke.
I can't smoke anymore. It kills me.
Is that right?
Yeah, I can vape. Even the vaping is tough for me now. The vaping's better, but all about the edibles now, man. I like the edibles. Chills me out too,
Well,
I'm an angry guy. I get frustrated. I get all pent up. So the edibles are good. It takes the edge off. It's nice.
It's an aggravating world. It's not a society. It's not surprising that you might be, semi-aggravated.
I'm aggravated all the time, bro. Thank God for the marijuanas. I love the marijuanas.
Yeah, I love the Mary. I like to refer to her as the goddess. I love the goddess.
It is, man. It's best. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let someone else talk.
All right, Pete. Well, get some rest, man, so you can be nice and fresh for your adventure weekend.
We'll let you know how it goes with me fucking with the federales.
Yeah, well, just have fun, dude.
I'm fucking slick, bro. These motherfuckers don't even know I'm gonna slip right by them.
I know you are. I'm not worried at one bit.
I'll let you know how it goes, homie. I'll let you know.
All right, good. I'll be looking forward to that phone call soon.
I'll let you know all my little tricks that I learned. Pass on my wisdom.
Awesome. Yeah, you can tell us exactly how you did it.
That's right. I'll let you all know my little Pierce Brosnan 007 trick.
Pierce Bronson, that's not a good reference for 007.
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery is really good. I don't know anybody else that came close to Sean Connery, but he.
I don't know why I said Pierce Brosnan. I don't know. Sean Connery, by far.
Pierce Bronson's a freaking dandy. Pierce Bronson's a bigger dandy than fucking Richard Moore, dude.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes,
I should have gone Sean Connery. Suck my dick, motherfucker.
Sean Connery was just a badass.
He was. He really was. Made my armies be the birds and the trees and the rocks in the sky. Whatever the fuck he said in Indiana Jones.
Oh.
Anyway, suck my dick, Tulsi Gabbard rules. Blow my ballsack. Have a nice evening, Michael.
Enjoy your weekend, bruh. Ride one for me.
I will. I have my hands up. Get it out. Cut off for you, bro.
Stay cool. Enjoy. That's our buddy Pete, and formerly from Rhode Island, currently from Massachusetts, headed for Virginia. Awesome. That's awesome. I really hope you have a good time, Pete. It sounds like something you're very much looking forward to. Now, if we have callers, I will be happy to take that call. Otherwise, I have more videos. How many more videos do I have? I have one more video. Should I play it? I might as well. I put it in the queue. I'm going to play it. No phone callers. I'm playing it. The telephone number's up there on the screen. If you want to call, it's 805-669-6397. 805-669-6397. 805 Mox News. It's nice to hear from you. This is about having a discussion, not having me, shout my opinions at you. Because I could do that, but I really would prefer to have a discussion if at all possible. So here we go. Clip number 12. I'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to it. It is a huge day for the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court today ruling that Americans have a right to carry firearms in public for self-defense. It is now being called the biggest gun ruling in a generation. The case centered around a century-old New York City law that made it extremely difficult to get a license for a concealed handgun. Essentially, an individual has had to prove they had a specific need to defend themselves, and those licenses were always turned down. It was a 6-3 ruling. The conservatives ruling that it is unconstitutionally vague and restrictive not to give people those permits, and that every American has a right to defend themselves. A natural right, I might add. Democrats, of course, they are losing their minds. Among them, the president and the vice president, but they lost those a while ago. Watch.
I am disappointed in the Supreme Court gun decision. I think it's a bad decision. I think it's not reasoned accurately, but I'm disappointed.
I believe that the Supreme Court's decision today defies logic. in terms of what we know we are capable of doing with reasonable gun safety laws to secure the safety and the well-being of the people of our nation.
Oh, she is such a conflator. She wouldn't know logic if it bit her on the arse of her pantsuit. Even the Department of Justice said it disagreed with the ruling. They all hate your freedom. Republicans see it much differently, at least some of them. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who represents a district in the deep blue state of California, said in a statement, quote, "The Constitution protects the right of law-abiding Americans to own a firearm for self-defense through the Second Amendment, which states like New York have tried to restrict that right through burdensome laws and regulations. The Supreme Court has, on multiple occasions, recognized it and today strengthened it. Today's ruling rightfully ensures the right of all law-abiding Americans to defend themselves without unnecessary government interference," end quote. And the plaintiff in the case added, quote, "The lawful and legal gun owner of New York State is no longer going to be persecuted by laws that have nothing to do with the safety of the people and will do nothing to make people safer." And maybe now we'll start going after criminals and perpetrators of these heinous acts. See, very important differentiation there. Gonna get a harumph, thank you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how correctly did the court rule? Here with me now, 2020 Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate and chair of You Are the Power, Spike Cohen. Spike, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on, Kennedy.
So people now have the power, Spike. People now have the ability
Yes.
to defend themselves. How necessary was this decision?
I think it was absolutely necessary, and honestly, I think that the majority led by Justice Thomas knocked it out of the park with this one. They not only said that it was a violation of the Second Amendment, which it clearly was, it was also a violation of the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause, because in saying that they would, on a case-by-case basis, decide who they subjectively think should or should not be able to exercise their right to carry a firearm outside of their own home, they were absolutely discriminating against people by their own admission. That was actually the point of the rule, was to discriminate and obviously to violate people's self-defense rights. I think it was a great decision. It's not only going to affect New York's gun laws, it's going to affect at least 6 or 7 other states that have so-called may issue laws when it comes to gun permits.
As opposed to shall issue.
And this sets this, as opposed to shall issue, and it sets the stage. The wording that was used in this sets the stage for future challenges to gun laws that could eventually lead to what we really need, which is constitutional carry, which is you being able to carry a firearm without getting the government's permission at all first.
So people are losing their minds because they are conflating unlawful acts and bad people with the right for law-abiding citizens to protect and defend themselves. How can you convince people that this is actually a good thing for liberty when they lump everything together, as the governor of New York called it, gun culture?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we need to do is to keep underscoring the fact that criminals, especially violent criminals, mass murderers and so forth, they don't care what the law is, with guns or with murder for that matter. We look at the Uvalde shooting that just happened in Texas. That shooter went through the background check and everything else and came out A-OK, got the gun, would have gotten the gun illegally had he not been able to get it legally, because again, he demonstrated that he didn't care what the law was, since it is illegal to murder multiple people. And we saw the government's reaction. They stood around outside. They stopped armed civilians who were trying to go in to protect their loved ones and the students as well. And, that's, there's the old phrase, when seconds count, the police are minutes away. Well, now we know the police are minutes away to then stand outside for an hour or more. And we just need to underscore that if you are someone, especially on the left, who believes that the police are unfairly enforcing laws in a harmful and inequitable way, then why would you want them and the criminals to be the only ones to be able to properly defend themselves?
But so this is the other thing that the governor of New York didn't address. There are already guns on the streets here in New York City,
yes.
And people who wish you harm have access to them. How does something like this do anything but protect people who have done everything and gone through all of the hoops and the legal processes to have a firearm in the city, which if you were caught with that, that's 2 felonies. Good night, Sally.
Exactly. Many people, who I may be dating myself and possibly you here as well, remember the Bernie Getz scandal that happened back in the 80s, where a man named Bernie Getz, who had been mugged multiple times, applied.
Sorry, go
yes, applied for a gun license and was denied a carry license in New York City. So he went and got one illegally, and within a matter of days, he was assaulted again, and he used it to defend himself. And they weren't able to get him for assault because he clearly defended himself, but they were able to prosecute him for unlawfully owning a firearm. Well, it shouldn't have been against the law for him to own a firearm. He was a law-abiding citizen who was protecting himself from multiple times of being mugged. And this is exactly the kind of thing that's not going to happen in the future thanks to this decision.
No, you are the future, Spike Cohen.
Thank you.
That's a compliment. Thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate talking to you, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Thank you, Spike. The Supreme Court
Absolutely.
ruling.
Next step is stop red flag laws.
Absolutely right. God bless America. I'm glad you brought that up because the Supreme Court ruling comes at a very interesting time in the gun debate. Congress now trying to pass its own gun safety bill that relies very much on those red flag laws. The Senate Tuesday passed a procedural vote with bipartisan support. The bill will likely pass through the full House and Senate this week. The legislation is the most comprehensive the Congress has considered in decades and comes in response to the Uvalde school shooting. Both the bill and the Supreme Court decision are very controversial. So what does this all mean for gun rights in this country? Let us talk about it with our Thursday Night Man panel. We've got former Trump Advisory Board member and managing director of Risk Investors, Jason Meister, is here. We've got comedian and host of Fox Across America on Fox News Radio, the man in blue, Jimmy Fallon. Yes. And Young Americans for Liberty Chief of Staff, Sean Tima, is back. At least he's back in Austin. So hook 'em horns. Woo!
Hey, good to be here.
Hey, great to see
here.
all of you. Jason, let's try and reconcile these two things that are happening simultaneously. What does it say about guns and what does it say about society, and can they be reconciled?
They can be, and I think this was an absolutely historic case. The opinion was unbelievably written. It comes at a time when you have spineless Republicans working with Democrats on gun control, and you have the Supreme Court fiercely defending our Second Amendment rights. The GOP, in my opinion, should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. And what they've done with regards to gun control and red flag is it's terrible. It's awful. And I think what we have is, as an American citizen, we need to have this kind of decision that we had today, where no law-abiding citizen should ever have to come up with an excuse to exercise their Second Amendment right to conceal carry. Our founding fathers wisely said that they wanted us to have the ability to protect ourselves. And I think that this decision was historic, and I also think it made President Trump one of the most consequential presidents in modern American history.
He should be enshrined on Mount Rushmore. So, Jim, let me ask you this. So you have people who now will have the ability to carry firearms in places like New York City. Do you think there will be people on the left, particularly Democrats, who will use the new beefed up red flag laws to go after legal gun owners, since there's not the kind of due process that is required to execute these laws fairly?
That's why the Republicans who voted in favor of this are in big trouble, because it's not where it starts, it is how it's utilized. And are you going to tell me with a straight face that the party that refers to me as literally Hitler and a white supremacist isn't going to do something rash? You know, if they think it's going to infringe upon my rights? That's the problem we have here, is somebody who's probably unstable themselves can go report me as the unstable guy, and then with no due process, I get it taken away. And to be clear, I'm not really concerned about me because I can't pass a background check anyway. But what about the good people out there that are going to get screwed by this? So, yes, I 100% think this is going to be abused, and that's why, you know, the people pushing back are right to be pushing back. It's not a lack of compassion. It's that every time one of these laws gets passed, it does nothing, to be clear, nothing to stop the bad guy. It tramples on the good guy. No differently than in Alito today, he wrote about how, specifically citing mass shootings in Buffalo, okay, this concealed carry ruling would not have prevented the Buffalo shooting. So it's like they piggyback off of the grief but the actual policy is not aligned with the specific incident they're trying to piggyback off of. So every one of these Republicans, maybe, I don't know if they think their heart's in the right place, but their head certainly isn't.
So can you have Republicans who are celebrating both? You know, can Mitch McConnell on one hand be like, this is great, John Cornyn is a genius, we need more mental health care in public schools, we need all of these red flag laws bolstered in all 50 states, and I'm so glad that everyone can go out and concealed carry. Can the same person be excited about both things?
I don't think.
No,
I don't
that was
think
for
they can.
Sean, Jim.
Hey, Sean, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Hey, Jim, don't worry about it. Well, look, they're pitching this as a bipartisan bill in D.C., and as the great George Carlin warned us, when they say bipartisan, it usually means some greater than normal deception is about to be carried out, right? So this bill is going to do nothing to protect the Second Amendment, despite what John Cornyn goes around and tries to deceive us with. The red flag laws are great cause for concern. I mean, when you've got funding, extra funding for a law that can be used and abused to weaponize police, to kick down your door, to take your guns, in some cases even kill nonviolent gun owners like Duncan Lemp. Senator, how does that protect the Second Amendment at all? My DMs are open if you want to tell me, but I don't think it does.
Mine too, but for
different reasons.
I do get a lot of pictures of guns. Different kind, though. So, Jason, do you expect crime to go down in major cities because of the Supreme Court ruling?
No, I don't. I do think that because of the Supreme Court ruling, we can actually protect ourselves from criminals and bad guys with guns. But what I think is unbelievably hypocritical of Democrats is that they don't hate guns and walls. They surround themselves with them. They just don't want you to.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's the same for mask mandates and public schools and school choice and anything that has to do with prohibition. It's not prohibited for them, but for you, dirty little people, you shan't have a moment of it. Panel will be back for game night. It's going to be a good one. And coming up, it's official.
Okay, so I just want to repeat myself that that this is your rights are there to protect you from the government. That's what your rights are about. So, at least overwhelmingly, the way I see it, the people that are going to infringe on, unreasonable search and seizure is going to be the government. You know, the people that are going to take away your freedom of speech is going to be the government. So, with freedom of speech zones and, you can't talk about vaccines and such, is pretty clear that it's the government that our rights are protecting us from. So anytime anybody tries to convince you that somehow we need to give up our rights, that person needs to be educated. So if you can, try and take a minute and let them know that freedom is what protects us. Exercising our freedoms is what protects us. Our rights, our freedoms, this is who we are. If we don't have those, what's the point? Right? So this is the end of the show. If you'd like to call, I'll give you another minute. The number is 805-669-6397. I have so much gratitude for all of the moderators who show up and have such good attitudes. Because, there's angry people that they have to deal with sometimes. So, and you do it so well. So I can't thank you enough for helping out with the show. I have to thank Craig screening phone calls tonight, even though we didn't have a bunch of phone calls now, did we? and all the tech stuff, every teeny tiny bit of the tech stuff. Craig got his hands all over it. If it wasn't for him, 90% of it wouldn't exist. So that's the facts, Jack, and we need to thank Craig and acknowledge that. So the telephone number's up there on the screen if you want to call. 805-669-6397. I played all my videos. Well, almost all of them. And I did it because I can. Because this is the discussion that, I don't know. Maybe we don't need to have. Maybe you're tired of the politics and it doesn't make any difference. And discussing it doesn't, add anything to our lives. And what we should really be doing is talking about how to bake a better lemon cake. Did I mention I'm going to make a lemon cake? Because I am. Because I can. If we don't have freedom, what do we have? Liberty or death? The New Hampshire, right? New Hampshire is one of the first two primaries in the United States, the primaries for president of the United States. New Hampshire being the live free or die state. Live free or die. That's the state motto. Live free or die. I think that should be our country's motto. Live free or die. I like that so much better than United We Stand, because United We Stand is such utter bullshit. I would love it if United We Stand. I would love it. If we stood together to fight and make the world a truly better place, starting with our own country, I think United We Stand would be freaking as beautiful gets. I don't think that's where we are, That doesn't mean that the spirit of live free or die doesn't exist somewhere inside of each and every one of us. I mean, you may be hypnotized into believing that this side is better or that side is better, but it's not so much that they're better, it's that this side is less bad, right? This side is not as bad as the other side. This side is not as bad as the other side. The problem with that is, less evil. This side is less evil than this side. This side is less evil than this side. The problem with that is, it's still evil. It's lesser evil is still evil. And we deserve a better government than that. Your children and your children's children deserve a better government than that. But I digress. We do this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Let me check this 1 minute. Let me check this real quick. And Thursday, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back on Tuesday, same Mox time, same Mox channel. And until then, I hope that you have a lovely weekend in which you find something to enjoy. Because what's the point? If you don't enjoy, what's the point? Pete, live it up, buddy. Keep up the good work. I hope it brings it. I hope you ride the best roller coaster you've ever ridden. And I hope Brandon had a great time today at the Six Flags and the Magic Mountain last night. All right. Back on Tuesday, same Mox time, same Mox channel. Until then, stay cool, because it's just so much easier that way. Don't forget.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits.